I'm alone on an island, starting with $0, and the only thing I have is a fishing rod. Will I be able to reach my goal and earn $100 million? This is what the islands look like where I'll be spending the next few years trying to reach my goal. Time to begin the adventure. I'll take my fishing rod, cast it into the water, and hope I don't just pull out a bunch of junk. Let's keep our spirits up. Got the first bite. I have a feeling this is going to be a decent catch. That's just what I need to get started. A decent fish for €400. Almost there. Just a little more and we've got it. I did it. What even is this? What did I just catch? Some kind of buoy? If this is a sign of how my plan is going to go, then it's bad. It's truly dire. I've got another bite, and while I reel it in, you can hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and drop a comment telling me whether you think I'll snag a fish this time, or just more rubbish. Haha, very funny. The same thing again? I've caught a buoy for the second time in a row. How many of these are in here? Should I pull any more rubbish from these waters for a third time? I'm turning off the recording, and I honestly wish to never again lay eyes on a fishing rod. I am absolutely sick and tired of it. Just kidding, just kidding. Relax. It was a fish this time. €100 credited to the account. My first earnings. I'm casting my line again, because I definitely need more cash. A giant salmon. €400. I think this is the biggest fish I can catch here, so that's perfect. No, I'm not letting it go this time. €400 for me, and the fish to the shop. Something new. Not salmon, but trout. €100, but €100 is better than nothing. I'd take that over an old tire. Another €100 trout, and I've got €700 now. As soon as I saw I'd caught some kind of trophy, I got really excited, because I know there's always prize money for them, but unfortunately, I caught the one that gives you nothing. This is just one strange fish mounted on a board. If you're interested in playing on this map with the same mods I'm utilizing, then please feel free to visit my Patreon. And using the code you see on screen, the first 100 people will receive a discount. I reeled in a massive trout, which is valued at €400. For now, I'm done with fishing and will be heading to the shop. It's time to do some shopping. Actually no, there's one more thing. In the description of this video, there's a special link that will give 5 people free access to my Patreon for a whole month. A small Christmas gift. I have €1,100 for shopping, so I'll begin with a €150 mower. Now I need to find myself a baler. I believe this baler will be absolutely perfect for my needs. Naturally, this is also a manual baler, one you're likely quite familiar with if you happen to watch my videos. In the video where I mowed the entire flat map, I also used this baler at the beginning. If you haven't seen it yet, you can watch it after this video. And I also need a trailer, so I don't have to carry these bales too far. I actually haven't ever used this specific trailer. It's only €200, so it's not a major risk to take. I'll just sell it and get a different one. Everything I've bought is already at the shop. I've got a trailer, a baler, and a mower here, so let's get to mowing. I'll start mowing, of course, in the area right by the collection point. This is where I'll have to deliver the grass bales, so it'll be super close. I won't even need to use the trailer. Instead, I'll simply grab a bale, carry it directly to the shop, and then proceed to sell it. As you can see, I've marked out a very small area to mow for starters. But I want to start somewhere. I just want to begin, to get things moving. I want that money credited to the account, to feel like I'm actually earning money. The mowing is going splendidly, and I believe now is the perfect moment to divulge my strategy to you, on how I'll earn that $100 million. How exactly will I achieve this? In theory, my plan is very simple. I'm going to invest in renewable energy sources. I'll transform the entire water-covered area into a vast wind farm and a solar panel power generation facility. Perhaps I'll add some greenhouses. We'll see. I'll endeavor to automate as much as I possibly can, but reaching that point will require a very long journey. It certainly won't be an easy endeavor. So, this is how the section I've just mowed looks right now. All that's left is for me to fire up the baler and get to making some grass bales. My initial field is incredibly small. Gathering all this grass won't even take me a couple of minutes. But unfortunately, it also means I won't earn an exceptionally large sum of money from this small section. I'll be able to cover some minor expenses with it, but it won't be anything miraculous. The most important thing is that I don't have to run around with a shovel. My goal is so gigantic anyway, I don't know if it's even achievable. Let me know in the comments what you think. Will I manage to reach that 100 million? Will I be able to hit that particular mark? I am fully convinced that I'll succeed, but I'm also really curious if you all believe in me. I'll be reading the comments. Collecting with this baler is so fast that this is indeed the final bale I've just extracted, and there won't be any more from this particular field. I must now mow additional grass. This is how much I managed to produce, 5 bales. I wonder how much I'll earn for this. Finally, I'll find out how much one of these bales is worth. 134 euros. That's what I received for a single bale. Fortunately, this challenge doesn't require me to make 20 million just by mowing grass. To achieve that, I'd have to sell around 200,000 of these blocks. I reckon it would be quite difficult to collect that much from these 4 small islands. What do you guys think? After selling all the bales, my account balance is 922 euros. That's certainly not a whole lot, so I'm activating turbo mode on my mower and will cut a larger section now. Once I've collected all the bales, I'll pave this area for the shop so my machines won't get lost in the grass. Like you can see with the trailer parked over there, you can barely see it, and that just won't do. The turbo mode is working so well that half the job is already behind me. Very soon I'll be able to create bales, and there will definitely be significantly more of them here compared to the previous section. I need to repark my red trailer now so it doesn't get in the way of my grass mowing. As you can see, I forgot to start the engine, a terrible mistake. That's honestly the very first thing one should do when acquiring a trailer, start up the engine. Turbo mode is still going strong. This time I even had an additional coffee to really speed things up. If you're still watching this, feel free to drop a comment saying, "That coffee's great." I'll understand exactly what you're getting at. And it's all done. The entire shop area has been beautifully mowed. I truly have quite a lot of grass to gather up here. There will definitely be several bales made from this, no doubt about it, but I believe I've certainly earned a bit of enjoyment and a gentle respite. I'm taking my fishing rod and heading out to retrieve a boot from the water. You heard me correctly, I stated it was purely for enjoyment. I hope the game heard that too, and now it'll be nothing but 400 euro fish. As you can readily observe, my approach was unsuccessful. The game remains unforgiving, continuously penalizing me with poor catches. This time around, I managed to reel in a truly splendid specimen, a bucket. Oh, I've received an award for gathering garbage, and humorously enough, I made more from it than all the fish I caught previously. I do believe I prefer this garbage. A new sign just joined my collection. Caution, wet floor. Now that's something I haven't had before. I wonder what I'll manage to catch this time. A tire, great. This fishing for fun is starting to be not so fun, so I'm casting my fishing rod one last time. Give me something good as a farewell gift, and then I'm off to make bales. I have to collect this grass. Enough of this fun. To be honest, I didn't expect that at all. 400 euros to finish off the fishing trip. I'm putting this rod away, because I feel like it's only going to get worse from here. I've just finished up with some fishing, so now it's high time to get to making the remaining bales and gather all the grass that's still here on my hands. I have this weird feeling that the baler is getting squeakier. I think I'll have to consider getting a new one in the future. I'm so exhausted, I barely know what I'm saying. I've toiled so much out in this field that naturally, I'm absolutely going to require a brand new baler. But this baler, what exactly is it going to achieve here? Just make these tiny little pieces? Nah, this isn't the job for it. It's okay to begin with, but naturally, I'll have to upgrade it to something better. I certainly got many more bales from this section compared to the previous one, which is fantastic. This should yield some substantial earnings. But before I gather it all, I'm going to indulge in a quick, invigorating wash-up to completely rid myself of every last bit of grass lodged in my trousers, pockets, and even my socks. It's everywhere. Now I can get to collecting. Let's test out the trailer I bought. We'll see if it's actually useful for anything. I'm not really certain how exactly to arrange this here, and I genuinely have no clue if I'm able to secure it with straps. I have a distinct feeling, yes, a strong feeling, that this cart is going to cause some issues. Perhaps I should try laying it crosswise. Yeah, that's probably the only option. Okay, second bale. Will anything more than 2 fit in here? Oh, probably not. The trailer's already tipping. Oh dear. Alright, sadly, it is what it is. I'm selling this and returning the trailer, or rather, I'll just sell it. Maybe I won't lose that much. It cost 200 euros. I wonder how much I'll get back for it. 169 euros. That's how much I got back. Hey, I didn't lose that much at all. I'm using the proven equipment now. It's 100% reliable. I can load many bales on it, and I've never had issues with this trailer. That other one was an experiment. A failed experiment as it turned out. Loading the bales onto this trailer is going very smoothly, and I'm curious how many of you have made it to this point. Are you all still watching this? We're already in the 11th minute. Do let me know in the comments. And as always, please tell me what country you're tuning in from and if the dubbing sounds good. Is this even watchable? However, since you've stuck around until this moment, it must be pretty decent. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then drop a subscription so my channel can grow like this tower I'm currently stacking with these bales. I need to move the trailer a bit closer so I don't have to run so much, so I've fastened the straps because otherwise, this all would have fallen off a long time ago. Well now, this will require some extensive combining to get arranged, but I'll make it fit. I'll definitely make it fit. I hope it won't. Oh, it's all falling down now. I really don't know how many bales are here. You all can tally them up. I'm simply no longer able to count them. I'm just so exhausted by all of this, by loading all of this stuff. Look at that pyramid. Well, a pyramid. A tower. A leaning tower. If this entire setup doesn't collapse the moment I budge, we'll be in good shape. Seriously. Unfortunately, it turns out that things are not as great as I had initially hoped for. Okay, I have to pull this backward, because otherwise it all just tips over. There's no other way. Let's sell it. Truth time, how much money will I make? 1,748 euros. Perfectly, I have 4,408 euros in my account. As I mentioned earlier, it's now time to get the store area all tidied up. This area absolutely needs to be paved and leveled, not like previously, where I had to search for machines in the tall grass. It needs to be nice gravel here, or maybe some concrete, although I think I'll do it myself here. I think I'll go with gravel, the con. The concrete doesn't fit here, so let's make it gravel. Of course, I'll also reseed grass, so there won't be any empty spots, because unfortunately, the painting process removed it, and I also need a place where I can sleep. So I'll set up a tent. I'll put a tent up next to the shop. I've got 4,000 to invest. Now it's time to acquire a tractor, a mower, all the necessary equipment. I started with $0 on the islands. My goal is to make $100 million. In the previous episode, I started with just a fishing rod, which allowed me to reel in a few distinctive items, such as a bucket, a sign, and an old tire. And naturally, a few fish helped me earn enough money to acquire my initial mower and baler, allowing me to create bales, which I then gathered, sold, and ultimately accumulated 4,408 euros by the episode's conclusion. I have a very good plan for how to use the money I earned from selling the grass bales. I'm investing the entire amount in a manual tree planter and some seedlings. This way, in a short time, well, maybe not that short, since I'll have to wait for the trees to grow, I'll be making some very good money. After my shopping, I have 405 euros remaining, so now all that's left is to plant these 60 trees and then patiently wait for them to grow. I utilized the entire pallet of seedlings. 60 trees were planted in remarkably quick succession. This is how it looks now. I'll need to patiently wait a few months for these trees to mature before I can finally begin the logging process. Here it is, my new money generator. Many months have passed. Everything's grown, making it almost impassable. I planted these trees so densely. I'll soon find out how much money I'll make from selling a single tree. However, prior to selling anything, I'll need to locate a timber selling point. It costs 1000 euros. Unfortunately, I don't currently possess that amount, so I'll have to catch several fish and diligently earn that 1000 euros to acquire it. I must really apply myself to this task. The first fish I caught is worth 100 euros. I'm casting my line and waiting for the next one. And I've got another fish. This time it's 200 euros, so I'm absolutely sure I'll reel in some old boot or something similar. Exactly. I caught a buoy. For the next several minutes, I continued fishing. I managed to catch a few fish, and naturally, a ton of trash along with them, but also one very large fish that was worth 400 euros. In total, I have managed to accumulate 1,805 euros in my account. This sum will enable me to buy the wood collection point, level the surrounding ground, and perhaps even purchase an axe. However, if I don't, I'll simply cast my fishing rod again, reel in one more fish, and all will be well. After setting up the selling point, I had 129 euros left. Unfortunately, as you can see, leveling the ground drained my funds completely, so I must fish again. I truly hope to hook a fish immediately, rather than an old tire, a buoy, or some other piece of trash like a boot. What a pleasant surprise, I managed to catch a fish right away. It's the worst one, sure worth 100 euros, but it's better than nothing. No more waiting around, I just got myself an axe and I'm about to start cutting down that very first tree. For convenience and to maximize my earnings, I chopped this tree into smaller sections. I then transported everything to the collection point. Here's what the tree looks like, all piled up at the selling point. In just a moment, everything will be clear. We'll find out the value of one tree at my selling point. The moment of truth. I'm running to click sell. And how much money will hit my account? 7,481 euros. Now that's a sizable amount. And remember, I have 60 of these trees. I need money for an investment. So, I'm starting the wholesale tree felling. I'll begin with 5. This should be sufficient for me to acquire a basic tractor, a lawnmower, and to employ a worker. Just as I said, I did it. 5 trees are down. Now I just have to cut everything up and haul it to the selling point. If you also wish to play on this map and with the mods I'm currently using, please visit my Patreon page. Furthermore, with the code that's currently visible, the first 100 individuals will receive a special discount. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I'm not sure what's holding you back. Do it right away so you don't miss any future videos on my channel. I've processed roughly half of the timber, brought it to the selling point, and now the moment has arrived to sell. This will fetch 19,284 euros. That's what I earned for the part I've already managed to cut. I'm getting back to cutting the rest, transporting it to the shop, and soon enough, you'll be able to make purchases. I have a small request for all of you. Please let me know in the comments if this editing style suits you, or if I'm perhaps shortening the actions I perform too much, and you would prefer a time lapse to see everything but simply at a more accelerated pace. Let me know. In the meantime, as you can see, I've managed to cut, gather, and transport all the wood to the shop. Now all that's left is to sell. Oh, and it looks like one log got away from me, but I've already earned 14,721 euros. And now for the missing one, 1,920 euros. Alright, so I managed to earn roughly 16,000 euros from those trees, and currently I have 43,458 euros deposited in my account. However, prior to spending any money, I decided to clear the stumps to avoid hitting them inadvertently, or having them impede my progress. And now I can calmly head over to the shop. This equipment provided me with a pretty good start on my island, but it's definitely time for an upgrade. Let's navigate to the tractor section. I've chosen to select my favorite 300 horsepower tractor. I spent 5,900 on it, and to go with it, this mower, which costs 4,100 euros. As usual, I'm buying everything here with cash, since I'm playing without leasing. My brand new tractor and mower are already at the shop, poised and prepared for me to recruit a worker. This will help me inch closer to my grand objective, $100 million and a renewable energy dominion across my islands. I have at my disposal this beautiful island that is full of grass. It's on this very island that my worker will get his first task. The great moment has arrived, the inaugural firing up of my tractor, and in just a moment I will employ my initial worker, who will precisely be mowing that previously mentioned island. I managed to get the tractor across that puddle that separates my islands. Now, I'm setting the worker loose on the pre-designated course and wishing him the best of luck. I'm really hoping to be pleased with his performance and dedication. The worker is performing exceptionally well, having just finished outlining the island. This presents an ideal opportunity to switch to a satisfying drone perspective, a comprehensive top-down view, allowing us to observe the complete island and admire the remarkable progress the worker is making so quickly, especially considering this footage is accelerated 20-fold. And shortly, I'll begin my initial investments in renewables. I intend to construct the very first wind power plant. We shall observe what the budget permits. Just a reminder, I have about 33,000 euros in my account and I need to invest it well. For a moment, I'm letting the worker continue mowing the grass, so I can browse the selection of wind power plants that are currently available for purchase in my shop. I decided to go with small wind power plants for 2,500 euros each. These generate 360 euros each month, which is quite impressive, exceeding a 10% monthly return on investment. I also had to allocate a portion of my funds to elevate the terrain, which then allowed me to start installing wind power plants. They simply weren't effective when submerged in water. Currently, I've managed to install 11 wind turbines. I've exhausted the entire budget I had allocated for this project. Now, I'll need to generate a bit more income, as merely 11 power plants hardly amounts to anything significant. I really need to generate $100 million, and as of now, my investment is projected to yield approximately $4,000 in passive income each month. During the time I was preoccupied with investing funds, my diligent worker excelled in their task and successfully completed the mowing of the specified area. My islands are experiencing substantial transformations. First, 60 trees emerged, followed by the installation of 11 wind turbines. They're springing up like mushrooms after rain. And this is just the beginning. My investments created a huge hole in the budget. There's nothing better than plugging that gap with wood, or more accurately, with the money I'll make from it. Once again, I cut down 5 trees. Now I have to cut it all into pieces, haul it to the selling point, and of course, sell it. This is the perfect remedy for the hole in my island's budget. All the timber has now arrived at the selling location. There's nothing left for me to do but sell it all and pocket a hefty payout. 32,867 euros. That's how much I managed to earn from that sale. Since the worker has finished his job in this area, I'll transport the tractor to the second island and hire him again there. The worker has already begun, and I am transitioning to my drone's perspective, as it offers the optimal vantage point for observing the work's advancement. I began cutting all the grass on all of the islands, but truthfully, I still haven't figured out what I want to do with it. Let me know in the comments what you would do with this grass. I will most likely make silage from it and simply sell it off. Another viable option would be to purchase some animals, specifically sheep. They do eat grass after all. But it's probably not the best idea for me to expand the farm that much here. That's not the ultimate goal of this episode. The main objective is $100 million, so I must prioritize swift investments and the development of renewable energy sources. Another very good source of income will undoubtedly come from processing wood, and as it happens, I have an abundance of timber readily available. Another island has been entirely covered with freshly mown grass. At this moment, I've essentially cut everything within my capability, so I'm heading to park the tractor and mower right beside my tent. I've made a very serious blunder. I neglected to clear out the tree stumps. I will rectify my error right away and then proceed to the store to invest my 30,000 euros, but on this occasion, not into wind power plants. I made a decision to diversify my revenue stream somewhat, and consequently, I invested in gas cylinder refilling stations. Each of these units costs 3,800 euros, yet yields a profit of 840 euros every single month. I've established 8 of these stations, so that's going to amount to roughly 7,000 euros each month. So, with my wind turbines included, that's already over 10,000 euros in passive profit each month. I started from $0 on the islands. All I had at the start was a fishing rod and a huge goal, to make $100 million. The beginning was tough. I fished out a lot of trash. Despite that, I earned my first money and invested it in a small mower, then a bigger one, and I planted trees. After they had grown enough, I began cutting them down, and the money I managed to earn was then invested into an offshore wind farm. Thanks to this investment, I'm already generating a nice passive income, allowing me to invest even more. And so, here we are, another day where I absolutely must earn a significant amount of money. I need money for investments, and I've only got 3,490 euros in my account. To kick things off, I'll be handling some tree cutting. I'm going to chop down a bunch of trees, as I'll need approximately 30,000 euros for my next round of investments. What kind of investments might you be wondering about, you ask? Well, I'd really like to get myself a baler and a rake, and naturally a wrapper as well, all so I can efficiently produce silage. I've already successfully felled the first 5 trees. Now I simply need to transport them to the shop, cut them down to size, and then sell them off. You can place your bets on how much money I'll make from these 5 trees. Please write in the comments below how much money you think I will be able to earn from these 5 trees. Though it won't be much of a surprise, since I've sold trees in batches of 5 before, so anyone who's been watching already knows. Time to get that axe swinging and chop these trees into smaller pieces, so I can make even more money when I sell them. And I encourage all of you to give that subscribe button under my video a good workout, subscribe to the channel, and please leave a thumbs up. And if you have the option to boost the video, please do so. It genuinely helps the video reach a wider audience and more people. All the wood is cut into smaller pieces, lying at the collection point and ready to be sold. So I'm clicking the sell button. Oh, it looks like not everything sold the first time. I've already made 21,700 euros, so I'm selling the rest, plus 5,447 euros. I managed to generate a pretty nice profit. Thanks to that, I can head to the shop and make the purchases I was planning earlier. First on the list is a class baler, priced at 12,500 euros, and the second piece of machinery I'll be acquiring will be an 8-meter wide rake. The total cost for it is 12,640 euros. The equipment I just purchased is already here at the shop, and this is what it looks like. But there's no time to just stare at it. Time to hook up the tractor and get to work. I've already finished mowing all the grass on the islands, so now all that's left for me to do is to form it into neat windrows and then gather everything up. I'll also have to fell quite a lot more trees, seeing as I regrettably don't possess sufficient funds for purchasing a wrapper, and I still need to secure capital for further investments in wind power plants. I'm engaging turbo mode, and before long, the entire island will be blanketed with neat rows of grass, ready for baling. If any of you would like to play on this map, or perhaps on any of my other maps, and of course with the mods I use, there are over 3,000 of them. The 25% discount is continuously active, so it's definitely worthwhile to take advantage of it. On Petronite, there's also the option to give someone a gift, so you could definitely surprise someone by arranging a 1-month subscription for them. For now, I'm done working on this island, so I'll transport the tractor to the second island. I'll assign a worker there to help create those windrows, and during that time, I'll begin the task of cutting down some trees. I've already got a route all mapped out for the worker. Now it's high time to activate him and have him get straight to work. My current account balance is 5,345 euros. It's not a whole lot, but as you can clearly see, there are still a great many trees left that need to be cut down. So, I'm grabbing my trusty axe and commencing the large-scale logging operations right now. This is the ideal moment to transition to a drone's perspective, allowing me to observe the progress of my employee meticulously creating the rows. As you can see, he's already made significant progress and is halfway done. So the moment when I can finally begin baling is rapidly approaching. I could technically be doing that already. I could buy another tractor to simultaneously make bales and create rows, but we haven't reached that stage just yet. The 7 trees I felled earlier are lying there, awaiting transport to the collection point, to be cut into smaller pieces and then sold. There's a significant amount of wood lying around here, I must admit. Also, I need to remember to remove those tree stumps left over from the logging operation later on. My island absolutely must be kept in order. Once again, I'll be using my trusty axe to chop this wood into smaller pieces, which will then allow me to earn a greater profit when I eventually sell it for more money. But this time, I'm not cutting the trees into 3 pieces, just in half. I wonder how that will affect the profit from the sale. I've just finished cutting the wood into smaller sections, and now it's time to sell everything and see exactly how much money I can earn from this endeavor. This is the moment of truth, and the grand total is 30,693 euros. Well, honestly, that's not a lot. I feel like previously I was earning a very similar amount for just 5 trees, even when they were cut into 3 distinct pieces. While I was busy earning money by cutting down trees, my worker completely finished making all the rows. Here's the island from a bird's eye perspective. All the rows are now completed. The worker did an absolutely fantastic job. Everything on the second island has also been meticulously raked, leaving no stray blades of grass anywhere to be seen. Now I need to get some bales made. I'm pulling the tractor out of the field, so it's time to unhitch the rake and hook up the baler. I'll begin baling on the island that the worker just finished raking, primarily because I have a pre-generated route for it. This means I won't have to handle it manually. The worker's efforts have already laid the groundwork for me. Unfortunately, it's not going to be as simple with the other island. I completely forgot to save the route of the worker who was making the rows there, which means I'm going to have to do everything manually myself now. I turned on the drone view to check in on my worker's progress in the field, and I can confidently say he's doing an absolutely outstanding job. This means I don't have to constantly monitor him or hover over his work, allowing me to smoothly transition to my next task, which, as you might guess, will be the timber harvesting. I have quite a bit of cutting to do, so I can use the extra time. Tree cutting, and I've still got a significant number of them remaining, a truly massive amount left to be cut down. Once they're gone, I'll need to plant new ones, but right now, I'm grabbing my trusty axe and heading out to chop them down. If you've managed to stick with the video up to this point, please, in the comments, write something along the lines of, "I really enjoy watching you fell trees. It's quite captivating to witness." Then I'll understand exactly what you're talking about, and I'll most likely give your comment a heart emoji. Another batch of trees has been cut down. I'm going to remove the tree stumps that were left after the felling, and only after that will I proceed with selling the timber. In my account, I currently possess 36,227 euros. However, that amount is steadily decreasing because the worker is diligently operating in the field. Although currently, he isn't actually working because he's gotten completely stuck on a bale of hay. I'll have to go unblock him shortly. However, that isn't really a priority for me at the moment. Right now, the absolute top priority is getting all these trees to the collection point, sawing them in half, and then selling them off as fast as humanly possible. We need to maximize our earnings and ensure we're not wasting a single second here, to really make some serious cash. Just a reminder, my goal is $100 million, and I don't even have 100,000 in my account. Even though my ultimate goal is still so far away, I'm completely unfazed. I just know I'll achieve it, and it will be sooner than you think. I have a clever plan, and now, let's sell the wood that I managed to cut. 36,186 euros just hit my account. I have 72,363 euros. Unfortunately, I now have to get my boots wet and dash over to my worker, who inconveniently managed to get a bale stuck in his path, preventing him from moving forward. Seriously, just go already. Where on earth do they find such useless employees? I genuinely don't know what it is. All they ever do is search for an excuse to remain idle and accomplish absolutely nothing. I'm going to launch the drone right now, and you can all observe how my worker is progressing with his tasks. I really hope he doesn't get stuck on another bale and actually finishes his assigned job. After all, I am paying him for this. Fortunately, the rest of the work proceeded without any further issues. The job was successfully completed, 100%. All that remains for me to do is to empty out the tank, release the very last bale, and transport the tractor over to my other island, where there's a substantial amount of grass eagerly awaiting collection. However, that particular task I'll have to manage manually. Therefore, my primary focus will be on felling the trees, and I'll endeavor to surpass 100,000 euros in my account. That's my immediate small goal, to exceed 100,000 euros, an amount I can then skillfully invest and subsequently multiply for further gains. I've already cut down the vast majority of the trees on my island, and there were 60 of them to begin with. I'll definitely need to plant more trees very soon because this is an exceptionally effective and efficient way to secure a rapid influx of cash whenever I find myself in need of funds for various investment opportunities. Just take a look at this. Yeah, there's truly not much left. Once again, I'll transport all the wood to the collection point, cut it into smaller pieces and sell it. My aspiration is to significantly exceed 100,000 in my account. That will be my first 100,000. Of course, 100,000 is still a far cry from 100 million, but it's important to keep a positive outlook. It just occurred to me, why on earth am I still using this old axe? I mean, seriously, what am I thinking? Why didn't I just buy myself a chainsaw in the first place? But if my axe wielding skills are so exceptional that they can rival a chainsaw, then there's really no good reason for me to switch to a different one. As I mentioned, everything is quickly chopped up and I'm selling it off now. 38,488 euros plus another 1,428 euros, totaling nearly 40,000 euros, have just been credited to my account, bringing my balance to 112,123 euros. I've tidied up the area, completely clearing out all the tree stumps from the logging operations, so now the only task remaining is to harvest the grass on this island. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to set up an automated route for a worker here, which means I'll personally have to drive through each and every row to meticulously gather everything myself. To make this more fun for you to watch, I'm hitting turbo mode, and in a moment the whole field will be covered in grass bales. Half the work is already behind me, so now it'll be smooth sailing. Just a moment of driving the tractor around, and the entire field has been completely baled up and is ready to go. Just look at how much there is here. This is how my islands are currently presenting themselves. There are a ton of bales lying on them that will now need to be wrapped in foil, and then we wait for the silage to be ready, right? I'm currently clearing the equipment from the field, and then I need to make a quick trip to the store for some supplies. I don't have a wrapper, and frankly, without it, silage making just won't be possible. There's a wrapper available for 14,000. I won't even hesitate for a moment, I'm simply going to take that one. I really don't have many options here. Everything else is either way more expensive or simply subpar, and I'm looking for decent equipment at a fair price. I'm attaching the bale wrapper to the tractor right now, and then I'm getting right to work. I've just collected the first bale with the wrapper and everything is functioning perfectly. I could just hire a worker and they could neatly wrap everything up for me. When I look at all of this sped up, it truly looks so satisfying and pleasant. Regrettably, in real time, the process really did take quite some time. Fortunately for you, you won't have to watch all of that. Instead, you'll get to enjoy a much more pleasant, greatly sped up version of it. Alright, so here on this particular island, I've just got a small handful of bales remaining that need to be wrapped up. Once those are all taken care of and properly secured, I'll be able to seamlessly transition and make my way over to the second island to continue my work there, hopefully with the same efficiency and speed that I've been maintaining thus far. Like I told you earlier, it went really smoothly. Well, at least from your perspective. The entirety of island number 1 has been taken care of, and all the bales are now completely wrapped. Everything went exactly as planned. Now it is indeed time to transition to the second island. There will be a little less work here because the area is slightly smaller, but not significantly so. You could definitely say these are very similar islands. I'm going in with momentum onto the second island and getting to work right away. I really must hurry now, because my mind is already buzzing with the next investments I'm eager to pursue. However, before all that, I absolutely need to get all these bales wrapped up first. Well, I just finished wrapping the very last bale of grass. It's done. I'm heading now to return the equipment to its designated spot, and after that, I'll go directly to the store to acquire a trailer that I'll require for future use. In my opinion, this is the best choice. 20,000 euros for a trailer like this. It allows for automatic loading of bales, and not just bales. Truly, this trailer is designed for everything. Bales, pallets, whatever you can imagine. After purchasing the trailer, I have 77,992 euros remaining, so let's proceed with investing in renewable energy sources. This time, I'm going with slightly different wind turbines. They cost more, but their output is higher, leading to a much better return on investment. For 15,000 euros, they also generate 4,200 euros monthly, which amounts to approximately a 30% monthly return on investment. Given my rather restricted budget, I was only able to finance the construction of 5 such power plants. But that's really not a bad outcome. Not bad at all, because 5 of these specific wind turbines are capable of generating approximately 20,000 euros in pure profit each month. That's already quite a substantial amount. When I add up all my previous investments, I anticipate generating approximately 40, perhaps even 50,000 euros each month. Now that's a pretty nice amount. The snowball is really starting to gain momentum. And so, this is how everything stands at the moment. The wind farms are operating, and the gas cylinders are selling briskly. On my islands, there are dozens of wrapped bales waiting to ferment. Once they've fermented, I'll be able to sell them, and with that money, I'll be able to afford to buy even more wind farms, and perhaps even some solar panels, although they are a bit more expensive. As time goes on, more and more money is appearing in my account. The wrapped bales are currently fermenting, though the money in my account isn't increasing quite as rapidly as I had initially envisioned. It seems I've miscalculated a bit, or perhaps some unexpected taxes are significantly eating into my profits. Despite that, I managed to collect 110,000 euros of passive income. And there's a significant number of bales still waiting to be sold. I fully anticipate exceeding 200,000 euros once I've cleared out all the inventory currently stockpiled across my islands. But that day is approaching quite rapidly. I started with absolutely nothing on the islands. All I had at the very beginning was a fishing rod and one immense goal to make $100 million. I was fishing, pulling old tires and buckets out of the water, just to get things moving and not get stuck on this island. So far, I've managed to save up 111,814 euros in my account. To some that might be a fortune, but for me, it's just rocket fuel for what I'm about to launch. White gold is covering my 2 islands. Dozens of fermented silage bales are lying there. This is the result of my diligent efforts over the last few days. They're all prepared now, but as we know, bales just sitting in the field don't generate profit, so I'm gathering them to quickly free up cash for new investments. 27,000 euros. That's how much I got for this shipment. My account is at 138,000, yet it's just a warm-up. I've returned to the island and I'm loading another shipment. Every single second of delay sets back my plan, and I truly need to be efficient to the core. So, let's sell the next load, and 26,000 euros just hit my account. I loaded the 3 remaining bales from the island, transported them across the river, and sold them. 5,700 euros. That's what I got for those 3 bales. My account balance is currently at 170,000 euros. However, that's going to change very quickly, because I'm heading out with yet another shipment, and I'm selling it for a total of 26,000 euros. Just look at how rapidly my account balance is soaring. I'm collecting the very last bales remaining on the island now, so I can turn my white gold into cash without a moment's delay. Thanks to this sale, I've definitely surpassed 200,000 in my account, and I can confidently state that's a new personal best. However, in order to achieve my goal, I am going to need the appropriate equipment. I visited the store and chose to purchase a baler for 80,000 euros. This new machine will effectively substitute both my current wrapper and the previous baler, as it's capable of simultaneously forming bales and wrapping them in film to produce silage, all in one go. Through the sale of my old wrapper and baler, I successfully recovered a substantial 20,000 euros. Since we're doing a full cleanup, I might as well get rid of my starter kit too. It's for a symbolic amount, only $629 in total, but for me, it marks the closure of one chapter and the beginning of another, stepping up to a higher level. And to reach that next level, I really do need a brand new tractor, 34,500. That's how much it cost me, and to complete the set, I decided to purchase a brand new mower. And it was a 7-meter mower for 40,000 euros. I bought a new one, so this isn't needed, selling it for 3,126 euros. After all the buying and selling of unneeded equipment, I have 97,385 euros remaining in my account, and my brand new gear is now waiting at the shop, ready for pickup and its very first startup. So, to avoid wasting any time, I'm going to quickly hook up this mower and head straight over to the island. There, I'll hire a new worker, and we'll see just how well he manages with this brand new equipment. The working width of this mower is actually more than double that of the previous one. Because of that, I'm really looking forward to a significant boost in efficiency, and speaking of growth, I sincerely hope you've already hit that subscribe button for my channel. And if you'd like to play on this map, using the mods that I'm currently using, I truly encourage you to visit my Patreon page. You'll find everything there. Currently, there's a 25% off promotion. It's definitely worth checking out. Only a moment has passed, and the worker has already finished mowing the first island. There's more grass to mow on the next island, so I'm going there quickly. I'm going to hire a worker, observe him for a while to see how he performs, and then I'll move on to the next crucial task, which is raking the grass. I'm hooking the rake to my 300 HP beast, which you know well. I delegate the task to an employee, and I'll handle the logistics myself. Time is money, and I have millions to earn. Without my employees, it would have taken me a great deal longer to get to this point. Luckily in this challenge, I can use the help of workers. Here's how the work progress looks. Everything is going according to plan. The rows are taking shape and the grass is being mowed. Everything is perfectly in order. As for me, the time has come to fell the remaining trees that still stand on this island. Every single tree you see here for me represents living cash, so I'm going to grab my axe. You heard me correctly, I am still using manual tools, but just look at the incredible efficiency I'm achieving. When I consider the significant earnings I'll acquire from selling this timber, I don't feel any fatigue at all while swinging this axe. I'm felling tree after tree and I could certainly keep doing this endlessly. I successfully cut down every single tree growing on my island. While I was busy swinging my trusty axe, the workers were diligently mowing the grass and creating precise rows. The tasks are already nearing their full completion. I'm starting the express transport of the wood to the collection point. Quite a bit has piled up. I'll transport it and cut it into smaller pieces to maximize the profits from the sale. The moment of truth has finally arrived. This truly is my biggest single wood sale throughout this entire challenge. 60,000 plus 3,000, so that's a total of 63,000 euros earned from this entire shipment. All the grass on the island has been carefully raked into neat rows, allowing me to confidently dispatch a worker to create bales and swiftly wrap everything up at an express pace. I have to make rows on the second island, so I'm immediately hiring an additional worker to handle that task. There's really no time to delay. The grass has been mowed, so it's high time. I've mentioned it many times before, but I truly adore observing this fascinating bird's eye view, especially as everything advances at such a rapid pace. Alright, that's enough of this peeking around. I'm investing 150,000 into 10 windmills, each costing 15,000 euros. Each one generates 4,200 euros in profit per month, plus 4 small generators making 360 euros a month. Meanwhile, as I was pouring in more than 160,000 euros, the worker successfully finished baling. And on the second island where the rows are being made, the work is also nearing completion. In a moment, I'll be able to send a worker over there to start baling on that island too. However, before I dive into that, I absolutely need to meticulously clean up the shop island. I'm going to remove all the tree stumps that remained after the logging, ensuring the entire area is thoroughly cleared for any future developments or construction work. Well, no sooner said than done. All the stumps have been removed, and now I'm rushing to the tractor to transport the baler over to the other island. Of course, for this task, I will also employ a worker to ensure I utilize my time as effectively and efficiently as possible. Here's how the work is progressing from a bird's eye view. The grass raking has concluded, and the bales are being produced at an exceptionally fast pace. Regrettably, one of the bales became lodged right in front of my worker, preventing him from continuing his work. That's why I swam all the way over there, to move that bale out of the way to get rid of that problem, so the worker could continue with his work without any further interruptions. I'm 5,000 short. I have 0 in my account. The worker quit, and now I have to finish these last 2 passes by hand. The work is now complete, meaning I can store the equipment back in the yard. So it's time for a quick rundown on how things are progressing across all of my islands. A few dozen bales were produced here. Every single tree has been chopped down. I've already invested approximately 200,000 into renewable energy, more precisely in wind power plants. Now, all I have to do is watch the money roll into my account as the months go by. I successfully generated a rather substantial passive income of 178,611 euros. However, I'm certainly not going to stop at that point. I have a substantial amount of bales on the islands that need selling, so I'm getting right to that. Getting right to it. One shipment, 26,748 euros. I've already accumulated 205,000 in my account. I'm loading up another shipment and heading out again to exchange it for another 26,000 euros. On the first island, I've still got 4 bales left to collect. I'm gonna load all of them up, sell them, and then I'll immediately move on to collecting from the second island. I received a total of 7,642 euros for those final 4 bales, which were remaining from the first island, and now I am already in the process of loading the subsequent shipment on the second island. Once again, over 26,000 has hit my account. I now have a total of 266,515 euros. But not for long, because I'm already on my way with another shipment. And again, 26,755 euros just hit my account. And that's not all, so I'll definitely pass 300,000 by selling these bales. I'm selling the last shipment of silage, plus 24,853 euros. In total, I have 318,125 euros in my account, so like I said, I passed 300,000 and by a lot. There isn't a single lonely bale left on the islands anymore. Everything has been gathered up. I really had to pause for a moment and figure out what I wanted to do next, what I wanted to spend this 300,000 on, and I finally decided to invest it all into a greenhouse. This greenhouse will form the very foundation of my burgeoning empire. I plan to produce a substantial amount of lettuce and then sell it to generate the largest profits imaginable. With those funds, I will subsequently construct additional wind farms. Of course, I also went ahead and added a few more wind farms now, since I had some leftover funds after investing in the greenhouse. It might not look all that pretty right now, but we'll deal with that later. For the time being, I'm starting all the production lines so that lettuce gets produced, I can earn some money, and then we'll just fast forward time a bit. The months are truly flying by. The account balance is definitely flying too. It's skyrocketing into the cosmos. And as I said, this is just the beginning. After only a few months of my productions and generators running, I successfully managed to generate 505,898 euros. However, reaching 100 million is still quite a distant goal. I utilized the 500,000 euros I had accumulated to fully equip the entire island with generators. This is how it looks. It looks interesting. We'll see if the profits from it are just as interesting. I hope so. Time flies, months pass. The balance is growing tremendously, so we can already say that the profits are quite interesting as well. The profits are interesting and this whole thing looks great. 1,117,333 euros. That's the current state of my account balance, which has enabled me to construct an enormous quantity of greenhouses across the entire island. I actually ran out of space entirely. Nothing more will fit in here. I know it doesn't look particularly beautiful, quite tragic actually, but I'll focus on the aesthetic aspect later. I promise you. More months go by, and my account balance is growing even faster than it was before. Each subsequent investment assists me in achieving even greater profits in increasingly shorter periods. 1,048,518 euros. I decided to invest those funds into 11 solar panels, with each one costing 93,000 euros, and generating 9,000 euros every month, along with a 15,000 euro wind farm. Several more months flew by, and my account once again received over €1 million deposited into it. And so, I made the decision to invest it this time around into wind farms, not specifically different ones that I haven't utilized previously. Much more expensive, 155,000 for a single wind farm. I also needed to build up the land a little bit to facilitate the construction of these power plants. This wasn't a very big expense, so I decided to set up 4 of these. Additionally, there were 6 smaller power generators, each costing 45,000, and collectively they generate 4,800 every month. And as if all of that weren't enough, I also managed to find this rather small generator, costing 24,000 euros, which is now generating over 6,000 euros in monthly profit. Apparently, that's how everything looks from a bird's eye view. There are more and more buildings. We'll see if the profits grow just as much. Several months had elapsed, and my account balance surged by more than 1.5 million euros, which was quite remarkable. That's a pretty nice sum. I decided to invest it in a biogas plant. However, to achieve that, I first needed to level the ground. The cost wasn't substantial, especially when you consider the 1,250,000 for the biogas plant and an additional 60,000 for the fermentation silos. In that context, it truly wasn't a significant expense. I had to slightly reconfigure the surrounding area near the fermentation silos to make it presentable. It's not ideal just yet, but I'll definitely take care of it later. This is how the biogas plant appears. I'll also eventually get around to decorating this area later. But right now, I absolutely must fill the fermenting silos with grass bales, ensuring the biogas plant has the necessary materials for production. The biogas plant I constructed is quite efficient, so I'm stuffing the silos with all the grass I can get. I'll spend the entire 128,000 I have left on grass and deliver it all to the silos. I still need to power up everything, then configure it all to function exactly as it's meant to. And by the way, I realized then that I had made an enormous error. I hadn't noticed this before, but my windmills, those colossal wind turbines, each costing 155,000, they weren't producing anything at all. It was a huge oversight. I hadn't activated them. As you can see, their propellers are now actively rotating. They weren't spinning before, and now, just you wait and see how my account balance is going to start soaring. At long last, the windmills are up and running, and to top it all off, the biogas plant is raking in colossal profits, exactly 2,832,541 euros. I really need to invest all this money, so I'm leveling the ground next to the biogas plant to construct another one right beside it, only bigger, more costly, and totaling 1.5 million. I have an abundance of money, which is why I've decided to spruce up this area a little, just to make it visually appealing and presentable. So I won't have to fix everything later on. I'll just handle it immediately as I'm working. I've placed a few trees around here, some bushes, and it immediately looks much better. This is how it appears from a bird's eye perspective. This is probably my prettiest island so far. The island that has the biogas plants is my prettiest island. Well, because it's the only one that's actually decorated. And since we're already talking about islands, I decided to construct yet another island so that I could place even more greenhouses on it. I devised a method of arranging greenhouses all along that narrow strip of land. They'll be expanding my island because the terrain always expands right along with the greenhouse. Of course, that's only if the option is set, and I did have that option enabled. I also painted the ground, planted various bushes, laid out paths, and generally did everything necessary to make it appear presentable and well maintained. And here's how it looks from above. Of course, it was high time to get everything operational, because it would be a real shame to miss out on the profits from so many greenhouses. So, having finished all that, I still had some money left over. Consequently, I invested 550,000 into this splendid generator, which generates a monthly income of 46,000 euros from harnessing wind power, specifically wind energy. Once I had completed all the construction, I simply needed to bide my time for a few months. This would allow my productions and generators to accrue the maximum possible earnings, which I could then reinvest to further expand my operations. I managed to save up over 3 million euros, 3,076,000. Several months had passed by, so I came to the conclusion that I needed to replenish the fermentation silos. I simply can't leave them empty. There absolutely needs to be grass inside, actively fermenting, to ensure a continuous supply for the biogas plant. However, those biogas plants were incredibly expensive, coming in at almost 3 million euros. And they generate quite substantial profits, so I must keep a close eye on them. After I had topped up the silos, the only thing left for me to do was to spend 3 million on investments. I constructed 3 massive wind power plants, each valued at 900,000 euros, and collectively they bring in 84,000 euros every month. So here's the island, from a bird's eye perspective, and as you can plainly see, this is what the growth of my balance looks like. 5 million, now over 5 million, 6 million. 7 million, exactly 7,400,000. This is how much money I was able to generate within just those few months. With the money I had earned, I invested in 8 new wind farms, each costing 900,000 and generating 84,000 euros, and additionally, I installed a couple of solar panels, 2 to be precise. Here's the bird's eye view. It's starting to look more and more interesting. There are more and more of these wind turbines, and more of everything else too. And an increasing amount of the profits, an even greater portion of the monthly generated profits. Look, a few months have flown by. I've accumulated over 20 million in my account, and yet again, I find myself needing to replenish the grass in the silos to ensure those enormous profits continue flowing in, just as they did before. I won't bore you with too many details here, so I'll quickly top this up. But as you can clearly see, I have over 20 million in my account, and I truly want to maintain these significant profits going forward. I had so much money that I could build 5 wind turbines, each costing 3.5 million euros and generating 350,000 euros monthly. Additionally, I built another one for 900,000, along with a massive photovoltaic solar farm for 1,300,000 euros. I even managed to level some of the terrain, but I just ran out of money to finish it completely. This is how it looks. It's getting really interesting. 100 million is getting closer. 100 million is almost here. Just look at the profits that are pouring into my account right now. Every single month, truly massive sums, millions of them, are flowing into my account. I chose to decorate the island with trees, the very island where the greenhouses are located. Just as I had promised earlier to get to it later, I've actually taken care of it just now. And now, the moment has arrived to decorate the island where I meticulously constructed the photovoltaic farm. It has to look presentable as well. I mean, it's not strictly necessary, but it's something I genuinely care about. I really don't want this to just be about making money by simply fast-forwarding through time. Honestly, I could have that 100 million in my account already. I just have to wait a few more months. However, I aim to achieve this in the quickest time possible, maximizing the monthly profit. And of course, in addition to that, I genuinely want it to look presentable, because I really dislike creating unattractive maps. So, this is precisely how everything stands at this very moment. It truly is the opportune time to construct a house right here, and then carefully adorn the surrounding area. Following that, I'll be able to confidently invest all of my remaining funds into even more wind turbines. And to finally reach that highly coveted goal of $100 million, or rather 100 million euros, as that is indeed the currency we are dealing with here in this game. I know I keep mixing it up. Sometimes I say euros, sometimes dollars, but everyone knows what I mean. While it may not be a luxurious villa worth millions, it's certainly sufficient for a peaceful retreat, especially with millions wisely invested and securely sitting in your bank account. And speaking of making smart investments, I absolutely must put that 30 million I have in my account to good use. I need to strategically place a few more windmills, ensuring a continuous and even greater flow of money into my account every single month. Each windmill generates 354,000 euros, and I've constructed around 10 of them in this location. So, I've just added myself an extra 3.5 million in monthly profit. Well, more or less. I'm not sure if it was exactly 10, but you can tell me about it. If you're still watching this, can you tell me if there were exactly 10 or not? And just look at this, folks. This is exactly how you earn $100 million. This is the grand finale of the entire endeavor, the culmination of the whole challenge. $100 million crossed at this very moment. I got so carried away that I actually reached 112 million, meaning I definitely surpassed the target goal I had in mind. I pulled it off, everything unfolded just as planned. Starting from absolutely nothing, $0, no leasing, kicking off with just a fishing rod out on the islands, I successfully reeled in a grand total of 112,169,481 euros. I truly hope I've earned your subscription, a big thumbs up on this video, and a comment that lets me know you stuck around and watched until the very end. Imagine the middle of the ocean, 2 wild islands, and an absolute zero in the account. And this is precisely how we're beginning our most hardcore series of all. It's a one-on-one battle with the FS Master himself. We are literally starting from scratch, and my entire fortune consists of this humble Landini tractor with a mower attached. My goal is to turn this grass into a green empire, but look over there. See that island with the forest? That's our gold mine, the key to making us rich, as long as we get there first, of course. If you want to follow this race for fortune, make sure to subscribe. Every minute here is going to be crucial. On my other channel, you typically only see quick time lapses, but here I'll show you real sweat and a fight with nature. This zero to hero start, stranded in the middle of the ocean, truly tests both my patience and strategy. I really need to manage every single dollar perfectly, so I don't drown in debt before we even catch a glimpse of the very first trees on the horizon. Enough planning and theory, it's time to roll up our sleeves and get to work, because the grass won't cut itself, and the competition never sleeps. Meanwhile, I'm just finishing up the first cut on my starting plot. I'll hook up the trailer in a second and head straight to the collection point to see the first real cash injection into our empty account. You can also check out this very map we are playing on today over on my Patreon. if you want to take on this challenge yourself. I'm really curious how many trailer loads we can squeeze out of this. Every dollar is worth its weight in gold right now, because my priority is investing in a bigger mower. Working with this small equipment would probably take me ages, and in this race against my neighbor, we can't afford to waste any time. We've already reached over 50% capacity, so that first profit is practically guaranteed. The collection point on this map works just like on the American Riverbend Springs. Let me know in the comments if, by some miracle, I somehow mispronounced that name. The first delivery is landing at the selling point. This is our moment of truth. Over $1,100 for a partial load? That truly gives me a tremendous amount of hope. I'm setting my sights on a new mower and a better tractor now, but I must carefully count every penny so that leasing costs don't swallow me whole at the start. We'll see who comes out on top, me or my neighbor, the FS Master. The competition won't be easy, because we both know the trees on that island are the fastest path to riches. The one who arrives there first and begins selling wood chips will secure an insurmountable advantage. It's going to be a brutal race to see who can snatch that precious wood from nature first. The biggest problem is that rather deep ditch hidden within the water. Driving a tractor straight through the current will end with the machine sinking instantly. The grass is all mowed now, so I'm launching Plan B and leasing a tether. I want to squeeze the absolute maximum profit out of this small island. Hay is worth substantially more than grass, so despite the additional effort, I'll be much better off financially in the end. We'd have to wait too long for silage, and I need cash for expansion right here, right now. Maybe I can make a few bales for later before the end of this episode, all in good time. My neighbor probably thinks I'm wasting time on tedding right now, but I know what I'm doing. A solid strategy from the start is key to success, especially when starting from scratch. We'll see if his haste can outrun my patience, or if I'll win out in the end. Let's check out what the real profit will be from a trailer full of hay, especially when we compare it to the grass I just finished selling. The FS Master is probably already scheming on his island. I wonder if he's also going for hay, or just mass-producing grass. We'll soon see whose tactic wins. The profit from the hay absolutely blew me away. I earned just as much from it as I did from a full trailer of grass before, even though the volume was less. That's a crystal clear signal that it's time for some serious investments, so I'm leasing a professional Samaz mower that's a perfect match for my 120 horsepower Landini tractor. Just look at the colossal difference this makes. Finally, that vexing 10 km per hour limit has vanished, and now we're absolutely flying across the field at a vigorous 22 km per hour. This is a whole different ballgame entirely. I genuinely feel like I'm really back in the game and starting to close the gap on my neighbor. The FS Master opted for a front-mounted mower and a forage wagon, directly attached to the back of his tractor. However, my rear-mounted mower is much wider, which gives me a significant advantage in cutting area, even though his setup appears to clear the field considerably faster. The only question is whose tactic will prove to be more profitable when it comes to calculating the costs. For now, I'm just focusing on drying grass for hay to earn some initial capital, but I'll soon be leasing a rake and a baler to really kick off mass production of silage bales. It's the silage that will give us the biggest cash injection, which I'm counting on in the next episode. Of course, that's not even counting the lumber sales, since they should significantly boost our bank account, but first we absolutely must reach the other island. I really need to buckle down and churn out a much better result than my neighbor, who's constantly fiercely strategizing with his unique custom set of machines. I definitely prefer collecting grass that's been raked into windrows first, but unfortunately, I haven't earned enough for a grass rake yet, and have to make do with the old ways. At this point, I'm giving up on drying more grass, because right now, all that matters is selling the mowed grass as quickly as possible. We need to earn money for more machines as fast as we can, so we don't get left behind in this wasteland. My neighbor's already wrapping and stacking his bales by the shop. I, however, plan to be much smarter and stash my produce deep within the field, so he won't see my progress. Let him believe I'm doing worse than I actually am. We finally have $3,300 in the account, which will allow me to lease my very first baler and a decent rake. I'm picking up the equipment and going on the attack against the remaining grass. This island is quite massive, and I fully intend to extract every single drop of green gold from it. Every single square meter of this entire island needs to be perfectly cleaned up right now. I simply cannot afford any waste whatsoever, because in this challenge, Every single cut directly translates to our survival and future financial power. This is the moment when precision becomes more important than speed. The FS Master is likely smirking to himself, eyeing my small mower, while he's probably already leased much bigger equipment. However, this rivalry is really just starting to heat up now. Starting out on these islands can definitely be monotonous, but it's precisely this painstaking mowing that lays the groundwork for our future, magnificent agricultural empire. My plans now include clearing the forest, building factories, and perhaps even raising sheep. In the meantime, I'm finishing the mowing, and will then start forming perfect rows from the previously cut grass. Soon enough, I'll have to lease a bale wrapper to create these silage bales, letting them ferment and fully mature until they're perfectly ready for sale. Just look at how perfectly these rows are lining up right now. My rake, while not the priciest, is quite broad and enables me to perform my field work with real efficiency and absolute cleanliness. I really must admit, it's incredibly satisfying to witness the once chaotically scattered grass transform into perfectly neat lines, all ready for immediate baling. Raking is truly one of the most satisfying stages of all. Out of all this chaos in the field, perfect lines suddenly emerge, just begging to be baled up and processed. I have to make sure the rows are even and dense, because any mistake now means losing precious seconds when making grass bales. Half the episode is already over, and I still haven't produced a single finished bale. My neighbor is clearly leading this race, driving back and forth to the collection point. He's probably in desperate need of cash to pay for all of his next very expensive toys and new equipment. And I totally jinxed it. Just a moment of inattention, a turn too sharp, and now my tractor's lying helplessly on its side. Luckily, my neighbor showed his human side and helped me get back on my wheels. Without his help, I probably would have had to use super strength, which at this stage of the series would be a personal failure for me. Finally, the very first bales are coming out of my baler. The baling machine that I rented is truly doing a fantastic job, I must say. However, a traditional square baler would have been much more pleasant to operate and work with. On the recording, it appears to run smoothly, but in reality, the constant stopping and restarting of the machine can severely test a farmer's patience. Even though this baler is truly testing my patience, let's look at the other side of the coin, shall we? My brand new bale wrapper. I leased it for only $867 a month, which, considering our zero startup funds, is simply a brilliant and exceptionally economical move. It's affordable, efficient, and best of all, it picks up bales from the ground, so I don't have to manually struggle with them. I felt like I was starting to get back on track financially, and my low-cost strategy was working perfectly. But then, I took a look over at my neighbor's island, and my smile just completely disappeared from my face. Unfortunately, the news from the neighboring island is unsettling. My neighbor just bought himself a really massive tractor and a set of 3 mowers, all at the same time. We're technologically far behind, but remember the costs. Leasing a giant like that costs a fortune. My cheap tactic might bring in a bigger net profit in the end. One of the bales almost escaped straight into the ocean, so I ran to stop it, so the fish don't get a luxury bed. Time is pressing, so without any further delay, I'm starting to wrap my very first bales. I have to admit, the FS Master has built a solid lead when it comes to speed, so every second in this field is now worth its weight in gold. In my recent series, beginnings were tough, I always ended up in back. But don't worry, I haven't had my final say yet. Let's get this wrapped up quickly, and then I'm back to mowing, because there's still a ton of grass on the island. At this very moment, my biggest dream is to somehow get over to that other densely forested island. I'm trying to figure out the cheapest and most effective way to transport those massive tree trunks from there. I have a bit of a secret plan. The modification with the Tajfun winch should perfectly pass the test when dragging wood across this deep trench. The only question is, can our trusty little Landini handle such a load, or will it get stuck halfway? We still need to gather a bit more cash before we dive headfirst into the deep end, so I'll finish up mowing and get the area ready for a potential crop field. The FS Master and I decided to take a bold step and fast forward time, so our bales can quietly ferment under the sun. I'm currently in the red by $1,400, so I desperately need to deliver at least one bale to the collection point as quickly as possible to get back on my feet. Just take a look at my neighbor over there. He's got a clever trick up his sleeve, using an ordinary self-loading wagon to haul those bales around. It's a bit glitchy and unnatural, but in the fight for survival, all's fair it seems. Though I prefer to stick to my more traditional methods. I'm loading all my green blocks onto the trailer and trying to stack them as stably as possible. There's quite a substantial amount of them, so I'll probably need to stack them 3 layers high to transport everything in a single trip. Now for the hardest part, the drive to the collection point. I really have to be incredibly careful around every single turn, because if I go too fast, all of my hard work will just end up in a ditch, and my neighbor will have to rescue me with his tractor again. Success! Everything's been sold, and a hefty sum of over $19,000 in fresh cash has just landed in the account. This is the moment I've been waiting for. I'm going shopping to pick out a powerful Massey Ferguson, so I can have a solid machine that isn't just a copy of my neighbor's. Along with that, I'm choosing the Tajfun winch and a gas-powered chainsaw. Let's go immediately and test this equipment in action. Look at this deep ditch separating the islands. The tractor has no chance of passing through here without completely flooding its engine. My strategy involves dragging the logs directly across the water using a cable. Even though wood floats perfectly in real life, the physics in Farming Simulator are unforgiving, and anything that falls into the river immediately sinks to the bottom. Therefore, I must employ the full power of my new tractor and a touch of technical ingenuity to extract these logs onto the riverbank. This won't be an easy operation, but if we want to make millions from timber, we truly have no other choice but to fight through all these difficulties. It's finally moving. FS Master even came over to personally watch me struggle with the winch, probably looking for inspiration for his own plans. Even though the logs fall deep into the ditch, the Tajfun is handling it surprisingly well, slowly snatching this valuable loot from nature. It is incredibly satisfying to witness my plan slowly but surely taking shape. Working with this equipment is an absolute joy, and I'm certain that logging will be precisely what allows us to dominate this series and leave my neighbor far, far behind. The investments continue, so I bought a professional mower set for the front and back of the tractor. Now, the work is going incredibly fast, and its working width lets me mow huge portions of the island in mere moments. In the places where I left cut grass before, we now have a double layer of material, which will translate into a record number of bales. In the next episode, we're going to dive into massive scale baling, wrapping up everything possible to amass an even larger fortune. The competition is getting more and more intense. Just look at that thick double layer of cut grass. This is going to be a real goldmine for bales in the next episode. The Massey Ferguson with the new mower set is tearing through it, and I finally feel like I'm the one calling the shots on this island and no longer have to worry about my work pace. Tomorrow's plan is simple. We're going to make so much silage it'll make my neighbor's jaw drop. This is going to be our big financial breakthrough. Everything seemed to be under control, buttoned up to the last detail. But then, quite unexpectedly, I noticed the FS Master suspiciously hovering near my timber. I immediately need to check what he's scheming now, because this doesn't look like a simple neighborly visit. I simply cannot believe my eyes. Are you seeing this, folks? The FS Master just brazenly drove right up and is actually stealing my hard-earned wood from the island. He made wood chips and is driving off to sell them just like that. This is just straight up theft in broad daylight. I'm not letting this go. I promise you, in the next episode, revenge is going to be incredibly sweet. Stay with me, subscribe to the channel, and wait for the next part, because this war for the islands is just getting started. We started from complete scratch, having only an old Landini and massive ambitions on hand. We mowed every inch of grass, fighting for our first dollars, while the FS Master was scheming how to beat us. But once I finally invested in proper equipment and a winch to conquer the entire island of trees, my neighbor truly showed his real colors. He brazenly drove up and stole my first wood from the island. Today, the jokes come to an end. Welcome to the second episode of our island adventure, one-on-one with the FS Master. Today we're kicking things off with a total of $6,100. This is the outcome of all our tireless efforts and the fast forwarding of time, as I brought up in the previous episode. The plan for this morning is quite straightforward. Our entire island has been mowed, so now we need to arrange neat rows and begin baling everything efficiently to finally earn some substantial cash for further development. If you're enjoying this epic showdown and want to witness my neighbor receive a harsh lesson for his despicable behavior, then be sure to subscribe. I want to reach 100,000 subscribers on this channel as quickly as I possibly can. I hope you will help me reach that goal. In this episode, I am throwing all my resources at this forested island. Transporting these logs across my wretched moat is quite the challenge, but I've got a solid plan. I'm just going to fill in this deep trench, creating a stable, easy passage for my trusty Massey Ferguson. But wait a minute, look over there. What is that neighbor scheming now? That looks like a professional logging winch. The neighbor apparently decided to use that new logging winch that came with the farming expansion. I have a much cheaper and, in my opinion, far more effective way to do this. My Tajfun winch has significantly improved power, and I truly believe I can haul all these logs faster and at a lower cost than he'll ever manage to get them prepared and securely attached to those lines. We'll see whose strategy turns out to be better in this race. Now that the terrain is prepped, it's time for some serious shopping. First on the list is a decent wood chipper and a new trailer. I had to get the version with high sides, because on my current flatbed, the wood chips would blow away with the first strong gust of wind. There's no workshop on the map, so instead of messing around with trying to configure some old equipment, I just bought a brand new trailer. The cost of it all turned out to be really quite reasonable, and building my own workshop made absolutely no sense at this stage. We must account for every single penny, as any incorrect decision could end up costing us dearly. It's finally time to fire up this beast and find out how it deals with our island trees, which are only waiting to be processed. At the very beginning, I had some minor technical problems with it, because I'm not as skilled with a wood chipper as my neighbor is. The FS Master has been in the forestry business for a long time, and he makes everything look so easy. I still have a lot to learn to match his pace. And that's where the real struggle started. I genuinely don't know what kind of dark magic the FS Master employs to make entire trees vanish into his machine in an instant. I'm really struggling here, even with the smallest branches. I'm cutting everything into tiny pieces, and yet, this machine still resists, and just won't cooperate with me. I specifically edited out my most unsuccessful attempts, so you wouldn't have to watch me struggling for dear life with these pieces of wood, and consequently losing my patience. This is nothing short of a tragedy. It's truly astonishing how stubborn and troublesome these deciduous trees can be in this new farming environment. This trailer is completely full, brimming with chips. I need to go sell this now, so my account gets a significant cash injection. Just look at this trailer, it's bouncing on the grass like it's possessed. This looks incredibly comical. Oh, come on. My neighbor's stealing from me again, right before my eyes. Did you see that? Everything spilled right into his trailer because he shamelessly parked there. I made $27,500 on that course, but the FS Master just completely trolled me, and now he's laughing straight into my face. I literally handed him free money because my wood chipper was pouring excess directly into his setup once my trailer reached a full 100%. He's constantly pulling some dirty games and tricks. First, he was stealing wood, and now he's partying under my wood chip pipe. We talked about it, and he openly admitted that he had placed his rig there specifically to capture all of my excess overflow. This is simply world class when it comes to annoying the neighbor. I really need to get back to baling right away, just to catch my breath and steady my nerves before the next stage begins. I just sold another load, and now I've accumulated $50,790 in my account. The wood made good money, but it could have been much better if it weren't for my neighbor's kindness. This old baler is absolutely irritating me. It's tragically slow, and I simply don't have the patience to work this way. I'm returning it to the shop with absolutely no regrets and getting something that will significantly speed up our production on this island. I'm going for a baler with a built-in wrapper. The lease costs almost $6,000, which is a huge risk with our budget, but we have a whole island of trees, so we'll make it back somehow. The biggest advantage here is that I won't have to make 2 trips to the same location. This could be my one true advantage against my neighbor, as long as he doesn't go and buy the very same thing right away. The FS Master copies every good idea I have, just like I sometimes peek at his. On this tiny patch of land, it's really hard to come up with a unique strategy. We'll see what we do when we run out of bales on this island. We'll probably have to deal with the forest or try to create another piece of land. But that's where the real challenges began. When I was recording this episode, terrain editing in Farming Simulator's multiplayer mode was a total nightmare. Everything operated with a truly giant delay. Just imagine the islands physically taking shape about 10 minutes after you've actually finished piling them up. This is a tragedy that makes you really not want to build anything bigger, but we're left with no choice if we truly want to grow. I'm leasing a second tractor to speed up the pace of work. I want to make this crossing to the second island through the water right away. It cost a bit of money, and with all this lag, I'm just winging it. Now I just have to be incredibly careful not to test the river's depth with my own tractor, because the bottom here is exceptionally treacherous. We're starting to chip my favorite pine trees now. These are the tall ones that go into the wood chipper without any resistance whatsoever. It's pure satisfaction. The pine trees in this farming simulator look great. but cutting them down is a whole different challenge now. In the last part it was much simpler. You'd saw, the branches would vanish, and that was it. It should probably work that way here too, but I just can't seem to trim these branches. It's not working for me. Thankfully everything's stable and we have no major physics issues in multiplayer. The one thing that's truly agonizing for us here is the terrain editing, seriously. It's the true Achilles heel of this version of the game, especially when building islands. Unfortunately, my favorite and easy to process pine trees have just run out. Now I have to fight with these branching monsters that are really hard to shove into the wood chipper without muttering under my breath. I really truly want to extend my heartfelt thanks to all of you for generously leaving so many subscriptions. We're going for a record. Like I've said before, I really want to hit 100,000 on this channel. It is absolutely amazing how rapidly our community is expanding. Tell me when you began watching my videos, and if you first checked out my other channel, Not Farming, where the videos lack voice commentary. Or perhaps you've only just stumbled upon my channel now. I got so carried away talking about plans and memories that I completely let my guard down. It happened. I can't believe it. I drove the tractor into the water. Engine flooded. Machine immobilized. This is just a disaster. In 1 second, the entire plan for this episode could have ended up at the bottom of the river, along with the wood chipper. It was pure terror. I had tens of thousands of dollars of product in the chipper, and I didn't know if the chips would just vanish after resetting the equipment. If that had happened, I would have been bankrupt at the very start of the series. I tried everything imaginable to get it out, but the ditch was simply too deep. I had to take a chance and reset. Fortunately, the wood chips in the tank remained intact. I saved my fortune, although my pride took a serious hit from such a stupid mistake. I simply couldn't see precisely where I was driving. Now I must laboriously unload all of this onto the trailer, and with such a large amount of material, it's taking an incredibly long time. The unloading takes forever because this wood chipper has some kind of magical huge tank inside. Seriously, you can load tree after tree into it, and it just keeps taking more. It's time to whip up some of our famous marshmallows. That's what you call them in the comments, and I must say, the name truly fits perfectly. I always choose white wrap because the colored ones just don't appeal to me visually. White bales on a vibrant green field truly look the best. Everything appears precisely as it should. Unfortunately, Farming Sim is starting to act up again. There was a server lag, and my neighbor got kicked from the game. Luckily for all of you, that was just an imperceptible cut, and my neighbor is now safely back on his own island. However, the real problems will only begin later, during the terrain editing phase. I know this as I'm recording this commentary after filming the episode. So get ready for a solid dose of frustration in the next part. And now, I'm activating Ultra Turbo mode to collect all the grass that's been raked into rows on this island. Real movie magic. Now I have to wrap all the bales I left earlier. Selling just the grass is a complete waste of money. It's simply not worth it at all. Each wrapped bale is worth around $1,300 after fermentation, so the price difference is truly gigantic. Every $1,000 on these limited islands is now worth its weight in gold. I wonder what the FS Master is up to in the meantime. I bet he's cutting wood like crazy to earn as much money as possible and get an advantage. So, please do let us know in the comments what you think about the situation on our farms. Who do you think is leading this race? It's only the second episode, but the differences in equipment and technique are already visible with the naked eye. And there it is, I've run out of baling wrap. In this version of the game, the wrap disappears in a flash, and the worst part is, I had to spend several $1,000s on a whole pallet. You can't buy just one roll, and with our limited funds, that really hurts us twice over. If you know any way to buy it cheaper, you have to let me know. Wrapping bales with this particular wrapper may not be the quickest process, but it's very likely the last time I'll even bother with it. After all, I now possess a baler that automatically wraps the completed bales in film. Only a few stragglers left here. Alright, let's risk it all. I'm going to try to create a completely new island now. You'll see for yourselves how tragically it works. I swiped with the terrain painting brush, and the effect was so delayed that I was already somewhere else entirely. Money's vanishing from my account quicker than wood chips in a chipper. We're in the red. Account balance, negative $1,000. I have no choice but to go back to the forest and keep grinding to get out of this debt. Minus $5,000. I have no idea where that number came from. Some leasing fees probably piled up. These branch trees are my punishment for being ambitious. Apparently the FS Master has some magic trick where the whole tree disappears in a second. Meanwhile, I have to struggle with it. I'm trying to pick the smaller pieces, because I really don't like shoving these giants in with super strength. It looks unnatural, and I prefer to maintain at least a little bit of realism. Small birches like this are truly a waste of time. They yield so few wood chips, yet require the same effort as a massive pine. Dealing with these branches is an absolute nightmare. I swear I'd rather toss this tractor into the water for a second time than try to force this entire log inside. It's just not worth the trouble. I really have to meticulously snip off each individual branch. Here, the FS Master clearly holds a massive advantage over me with his dark magic of wood chipping. And to top it all off, my neighbor just rolled up and shamelessly swiped a tree that I had painstakingly managed to get off the island. I simply have no words for this guy. There has to be some justice in this situation. Therefore, I promise you I will definitely reclaim what rightfully belongs to me. Just look at that island right in the middle there. The FS Master has turned it into one enormous parking lot for all his machines. Spoiler alert, this is how it'll look for most of the series. I have over $67,000 in my account now, so I'm going back to finish my new, hellishly expensive island. I've gone and spent all the money once more, and now we're in the red again. What's worse, because of the lag, I accidentally made a dent in the terrain that I can't seem to level out now. If you want to try your hand at this map, you'll find the link to my Patreon in the description. Now you can play peacefully without lag. For us, it was simply an outdated game version. I also sold our small starter tractor. Since we owned it outright, I got a bit of extra cash, which I'm about to put to very good use. I'm planting trees that can actually be chipped quickly and easily. I'm planning to create a crop field on the new island. I'm renting a cultivator, a seeder, and buying seeds and fertilizer. This island has already set me back over $100,000, and I'm honestly concerned that with such colossal expenses, I might never recoup my investment. But, as they say, no guts, no glory. Unfortunately, the free terrain editing feature just didn't work here. The mod was supposedly active, but in multiplayer the game plays by its own rules. Every single scoop of the shovel is another painful blow to my wallet. This new island of mine is so massive that it takes around 30 seconds just to create a new field on it. I'm marking out the field's shape, moving the bales aside, and praying that this rapeseed will save my budget. My account balance is now a miserable $2,700. This is just a joke. If I had bought a greenhouse instead of this island, I'd be rich by now. Instead, I have a patch of sand that I'll still have to rent a harvester for. I did notice one trick though. The chipper works much better if you feed several logs simultaneously. It just disappears into the machine quicker that way. The physics of this farming game are quite odd, but I won't argue. I'll finish chipping this tree, then head straight to the middle island, hoping to really boost my budget by quite a bit. Selling another load of wood chips. I was hoping for 50,000, but I barely got 21. My earnings today are absolutely tragic, and I wasted most of my money just building this ridiculously tiny island. The only thing left for me to do now is to plant even more trees on the forest island, hoping to rake in some serious cash in the future. I definitely need a significant cash injection. At the end of the day, I bought some more fertilizer, and then I realized my seeder doesn't have a fertilizer tank. Another $2,000 thrown away because I wasn't paying attention. I hired a worker on the new island to plant rapeseed for me, and I myself returned to my original island to complete the preparation of the field, where I'll most likely sow rapeseed again later. I don't have a better idea of what to plant here right now. Rapeseed will most likely be a good choice. If you're still watching this episode, feel free to drop a comment saying, "Still series." Also, take a moment to check the description, where you'll find equipment from our sponsor, who supplies computer gear for all my giveaways. I have just one more pass left to complete, and then this new field will be perfectly ready for sowing rapeseed. I'm taking the tractor with the seeder, and this time I won't hire a worker. I'll do it myself, much faster than he would. This was a long and crazy episode. The island is ready, even though my wallet is empty. If you don't want to miss the next epic struggles with lag and that thieving neighbor, make sure to hit that subscribe button. This series will run for at least 6 more episodes, so the real excitement is genuinely just kicking off. Thanks for being with me, be sure to check out the playlist in the description, and I'll catch you all soon. We started from scratch, with just an old Landini and big ambitions. We mowed every inch of grass, fighting for our first dollars, while the FS Master conspired to drive us away. Welcome to the third episode of our Island one-on-one series. We're back in the game, back on our own territory. No slacking off today. I'm heading straight to the familiar Timber Island. The goal for this episode is clear: to cut and process enough timber to finally afford a sawmill and leave the Black Lord in the dust financially. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, now is the perfect time. Hit that notification bell, because the rivalry with my neighbor is getting more intense. I really need to hurry with these trees. The FS Master likely already firing up his chainsaw on his part of the map. Knowing him, he'll soon start scheming how to steal my wood, or at least park his trailer right under my nose. He has this weird tendency to borrow my wood chip straight from the wood chipper, so I need to have eyes in the back of my head. It's smooth so far. Machines hum, but tension mounts. Every second of downtime is his chance. I won't let him rob me. Today, I'm going to be the king of the islands and earn more than my neighbor. Technique is key. It's best to cut the tree into 3 equal parts. I've said it, but I'll repeat it. You throw in 3 logs at once, and the chipper grinds them together. No messing around with individual branches. This is pure efficiency we're fighting for, so the FS Master can only watch and be jealous. I wonder how much we'll snag for this haul. I'm selling everything now. While I'm at it, I invite you to check out my Patreon, where you'll discover this map, along with my other maps and all the mods I'm currently using. If it weren't for this infinite tank in the wood chipper, it wouldn't be this easy. And there you have it, 37,600 for a single trailer. This is a powerful cash injection. I'm hooking up the seeder immediately. I'm not going to waste any time, so I'm sending a worker to sow the rapeseed. Meanwhile, we need to take care of what's been left behind after the mowing, our silage bales. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten an automatic trailer yet, so I've got some manual labor ahead of me. This is the part of the episode where I test my patience and my loader skills. But hey, on the islands there's always something to do. No boredom here, whether it's trees, bales, or battling crazy workers. I'm loading these bales by hand, and it's actually going pretty well. I think I can cram about 12 of them into this load. Need to keep busy so I don't watch the slow growth of this rapeseed. Each bale is additional money that brings me closer to ultimate victory. Time for a real investment. I'm building greenhouses. I'm choosing a spot right here at the very edge. 37,000 is going into play. Passive income is fundamental in a one-on-one match. But wait, here comes the best part. It was only after the fact that I realized I'd built the more expensive glass versions, which produced the same amount as the plastic ones. Oh, just brilliant. I ended up spending even more money, all just to make it look a little bit nicer. These greenhouses are still cool to me. I associate them with profit. You live and learn from your mistakes, but luckily the greenhouse is already working. Production has started, and I'm firing the worker. I see I can finish sowing this rapeseed faster myself than this AI expert. Field sown, job done, and look, the neighbor's flying over to fast forward time. Classic. He always wants to speed up when I'm halfway done. But alright, everything's ready, bales collected, field prepped, so let's fast forward. Now just look at the account. Negative 21,000 to start. The wallet always feels the pinch the most after fast forwarding. I sold the bales and now we're at negative 6,000. A quick wallet recovery. One more transport and we'll break even, and then we'll start making a clear profit. My main goal now is a harvester. Without our own rapeseed machine, the FS Master will prevail, and that simply cannot be allowed. I really need to sell everything I have right now. A harvester is absolutely essential to manage the fields we've planted. I hope the rapeseed will let me pay off the lease payments, because our little islands are so small, there's no room for financial mistakes. Literally, there's absolutely no space for anything at all. We lack the land for fields, for machinery, for everything imaginable. This is a constant battle for every square meter, and the terrain editing, at the time of this episode's recording, is an absolute travesty. I await an update. Painting anything is pure torture. The transport is loaded and ready, so I'm heading to the shop as quickly as possible to sell it off. We've managed to earn well over 15,000, so we're no longer in the red at all. Currently, there is exactly $9,400 in my account. I still have a lot of silage bales left to collect, so there's no time to waste. I'm loading up another transport to make some more cash. I'm getting better and better at stacking these bales. I'm loading transport after transport, but I won't deny it would be really nice to use a trailer with an automatic bale loader. There will be a time for that, but right now I need to focus on other things. The trailer is practically buckling under the weight of these bales. I'm off to sell them, and a nice sum should hit the account. And look at that. Over $19,000 just landed in the account. The balance is already nearing $29,000. It's high time to rent a harvester and commence the long-awaited rapeseed harvest. Hopping in the harvester. I'll do this manually, because by the time a worker turns this machine around in such a tight space, I'll have already done 2 passes. After the rapeseed harvest, it's back to wood and grass, as the sawmill won't fund itself. Rapeseed goes under the knife. I need to cover the next few months of equipment lease payments. I just noticed that one silage bale was left on the edge. I'll definitely have to grab that later on. Nothing should ever go to waste. Since we fast forwarded time, the goods in the greenhouses must have multiplied. I need to get over there and urgently sell those pallets. It might only bring in a few thousand, but with my gigantic budget deficit, every single dollar helps save my farm from financial ruin. I've harvested one rapeseed field, just the one on my new island remains. I'm working at lightning speed. This island is tiny, so there isn't that much rapeseed. Once the field is harvested, I'll go directly to sell the collected rapeseed. The tank was only filled to 31%, yet I still made almost $7,000 from it. Now my account balance is $28,765. I'm hitching up my small trailer now and heading out to collect the vegetable pallets that the greenhouse has produced. I have to sell them. It's always an extra few $1,000s in the bank. Oh, would you look at that? The Black Lord was kicked out from the server. Something happened with my neighbor. Maybe someone up there is rooting for me and wanted to give me a little head start? Too bad it only lasted a minute, so I didn't even have time to really get going with the work. I've got all the pallets loaded up and I'm off to sell them. I never expected to earn so much from just a few vegetable pallets. Over $20,000 for a single haul like this. I'm heading back to the wood island at full speed. I'm taking advantage of the fact that my rival is nowhere in sight. I need to harvest enough to cover the cost of that cursed sawmill. Let me know in the comments how you all are enjoying this island series. Do you prefer this one-on-one style, or maybe a classic single player? I await your feedback, as it fuels these episodes. While you're at it, feel free to play a little guessing game. Write in the comments what you guys think I'm going to do next, after this whole endeavor. This will be a small test of your intuition. Whoever guesses what I'll buy, or what I'll screw up next, will get a heart, and maybe even a prize in the future. The wood chipper devours trees one after another. It's quite efficient. I'll head out soon to sell the wood chips I've made so I can keep investing in equipment. This will suffice for the moment. I'm off to sell it, and then we'll find out just how much I can earn this time. I sold this load for almost $10,000. Not bad at all. I'm doing a quick garage check. I really need to get rid of all these useless mowers and junk. They're costing me a fortune in leasing. I should have returned them ages ago, but in the heat of battle with the neighbor, one tends to forget bureaucracy. Each penny saved on payments gets me closer to my goal, $150,000 for a sawmill. But first, a quick mow of the grass. I want the bales to be waiting for me next month, all wrapped and ready to go. There isn't much grass here, so I have to use every inch of green. And while we're at it, take a look at this investment of a lifetime of mine. I created this second island for about $100,000, and let me tell you, it's a disaster. Right now it's giving me nothing. It's more like a tiny island in a pond than land for a proper farm. So far, I've maybe made back 5% of it, thanks to the harvested rapeseed. But I'll stop complaining now. Just like I'm finishing up mowing this patch of meadow, you just have to keep working and everything will work out. It's time for more logging. I've currently accumulated 58,000, so I'm still short about 90,000 for the sawmill. Just a few more trips and we'll be home. Afterward, I plan to go into the greenhouses, and I mean big. Even if I have to build artificial underwater islands. Can you even imagine that? Water greenhouses. We might earn slightly less from automatic sales, but it's much better than leaving empty space on the water. I've chopped down a few trees and I'm currently selling the wood chips so the money can finally be deposited into my account. I have a plan for how to spend it. This sale got me $10,000. I'm returning the small trailer and upgrading to something serious. I'm buying a class whose capacity was modified by the FS master himself. Well, At least my neighbor was useful for something for once. This trailer is perfect for large amounts of wood chips, and even though the wood chipper has an infinite buffer, I'd prefer everything to land nicely in the back instead of disappearing into some magic hole. This gives me better control over how much cash I'm actually grinding. This time I'll spend a while in this forest grinding up many trees. That's the plan. I have to take advantage and cut down my trees before that thief of a neighbor comes and hauls them off my island for his own benefit. Let me know if you truly enjoy logging trees in Farming Simulator, or perhaps you dislike forestry work completely. I like the profits that wood chips generate, but honestly, this type of work in farming isn't one of my favorites. I'm cutting down and chipping even more trees to fill up the trailer as quickly as I possibly can. Then I'll need to replant some more trees, especially if I can get a sawmill built, which I should totally get done in this episode. I wonder how my neighbor's work is progressing. I have absolutely no idea who's currently ahead in our little duel. I truly hope I'm leading this competition, but our race still has a long way to go, so really, anything can happen at this point. You can place your bets on who will win. In a little while, we'll see who was right. I'm starting a worker to get this field ready for seeding. I think he can handle it. This will be a little test. I always try to regularly remove the stumps whenever I'm felling trees, so they don't spoil the look of my island. However, this time, I believe my neighbor probably stole a few pine trees while I was away, leaving behind only the stumps so that I would notice what transpired here. I'm heading straight to the selling point with another load of wood chips. My account balance has to keep growing, so I don't accidentally hand the win to my neighbor on the next island. It's not that easy. This is a real battle. This time, I processed a massive quantity of trees, earning over $50,000 from just this single haul. Let's keep up the good work. I'm off to sell this one stray bale of silage. Every little bit of extra money always helps out in the end. You know what? I just changed my sawmill plans. A new mower would really come in handy. One that makes windrows immediately. No more messing around with a tether and wasting time on double passes. We'll just lease a Puttinger and handle it. Of course, as is typical for me, the mower immediately flipped over right there at the shop. Perfect, but it's fine. We'll hook up the front, then the back, and off we go. I need to return the old rear mower so I don't lose money. And that worker in the field, he did it once more. He quit the job halfway through. What's he thinking? I'll finish it. Not worth the stress. I really wish there was an option to just select a classic dependable worker. You know, one that just drives straight ahead and doesn't try to outsmart the GPS. These guys are supposed to handle weirdly shaped fields, but in practice, they get lost more often than they actually work. I just need someone who can hold a straight line, not someone who overcomplicates things. Now the mowing is going even better for me, and what's more, I won't have to waste time raking the grass into neat rows anymore, because my new mower handles it all automatically. This is a great convenience and will significantly expedite my work. With equipment like this, I can work a much larger area, but there's water all around, and creating new islands is expensive and works terribly. Alright, returning the equipment I don't need. The rear mower is back. Now it's time to make some proper rows so I can get rid of the rake. Since my new machine does it automatically, the rake is as useful to me as a screen door on a submarine. Fewer leased machines means more money available for sawmill development. We still have a good amount of work ahead of us before the day is over. There aren't many areas left to mow, so I should be able to finish up quite fast. Then we've got baling ahead. That always takes a while, but I must get a move on. The rows are finished. Now I just need to make the bales, and I likely won't need the old rake much longer, so I can take it back to the store, but I'll get to that in a little while. In the meantime, I also sent a worker to the field to sow rapeseed there. Presently, I've got over $110,000 in my account. However, that still falls short of the $150,000 I absolutely need to construct the sawmill. I need to go back to the forest very soon and continue grinding trees into wood chips in order to earn the remaining amount of money I need. Making bales is going pretty smoothly. Next month I'll have a lot of silage to sell. I'm really happy about that. Quick trip to the forest island. My neighbor's still not around, so I'm taking advantage. I have to cut down all the normal trees that are still left here. These straight pines are perfect for chipping. I'm saving the big, thick, branched ones for dessert. They'll go straight to the sawmill. The chipper can't handle them without my help. Look at this progress. I'm really getting the feel for this machine now. Chipping is merely a formality at this point. The trailer's already halfway full, meaning wood chips are accumulating rapidly and densely. 120,000 liters of capacity in this class trailer is a whole lot. If we fill it up to 100%, we'll make a fortune on the transport alone. The FS Master will surely turn green with envy the moment he lays eyes on my bank account. The topography of this island always presents a persistent challenge. The log consistently jams on every longer section, so I'm reverting to my strategy of cutting them into 3 distinct pieces. This is the golden rule. Smaller pieces, no blockages, maximum profit. Truly. I really don't recommend wrestling with entire trees unless you possess the patience of an angel, and I'm definitely lacking that today. The trailer is packed with wood chips, so I'm heading to the sell point, and that should be enough for the sawmill. Plus $53,000. Perfect. The account balance is over $160,000. It is now time to invest a full $150,000 and construct the sawmill. This is a serious investment that should pay for itself many times over. I'm hooking up the logging winch, and then I'll be heading over to load whole trees straight into the sawmill to get production started. Finally, I have something to do with these awful trees that won't go into my wood chipper. I'm cutting down one of the biggest trees to see if I can get it into the sawmill without chopping it into smaller pieces. I'll lend a little hand with a bit of superhuman strength, and that should definitely do the trick. As you can all see, I managed to shove that entire tree into the sawmill, and it yielded nearly 20,000 liters of wood, which will now be processed into various types of planks, ultimately earning me a small fortune. The next big investment I need to save up for will be building a furniture factory, to make even better use of the planks from the sawmill and turn them into expensive furniture. I cut down another tree, but on this occasion I was forced to divide it into smaller sections, as the sawmill refused to accept it in one piece. Just a couple more trees like this, and the sawmill will be full until it processes what I've dropped into storage. I've fully loaded the sawmill and kicked off production, but we'll get to that very soon. We'll certainly see how everything turns out. Thanks so much for watching, for every thumbs up and every sub. Thanks to you, this series is progressing fast. Join me for upcoming episodes where the island battle truly intensifies. So long for now everyone, see you all in the next one. We started in the middle of the ocean, with $0 in the account and big plans. Welcome to another episode of the 1 vs 1 series on the islands with FS Master. This is episode 4, and the plan for today is simple, to create a brand new island. Something much bigger than what I managed to build before. Of course, there are going to be huge problems, because terrain editing while recording this episode is just working terribly. But I'll try to get this island built, and FS Master will definitely want to make something too. We'll see, maybe it won't be that bad. Maybe it won't blow up the whole server. Leave a sub if you haven't done so yet. As you can see, I managed to mow the field already during the greeting and intro, so we're really working at lightning speed here. Our sawmill has also managed to produce planks for us. We don't have furniture yet, just planks for now, but of course we need to sell those too. Speaking of selling, I just sold all the grain I harvested at the start and made over $5,000. Despite this, I'm still $40,000 in the red. We need to make an effort to get out of this debt. If you want to play on this map, you can check out my Patreon. If you are my patrons, you have access to everything. All my maps and mods I use. I'm wondering if all of this will fit on the trailer. I'll eventually need to buy something better, but minus $40,000 in the account definitely doesn't make shopping easier. That's all I can say. I'm trying to arrange it to fit more, but the more I try, the more it falls off. It's better to make 2 trips and arrive whole than to lose 50% of the load on the way. This factory should give us quite a cash boost, and maybe that way we'll catch up with the FS Master, as his initial episodes went a bit better. He put in more effort, and maybe I adjusted a bit too slowly to how one earns in this farming. But now I know what I need to do. There will be lots of greenhouses, lots of factories, not just silage. As you can see, I sold the first shipment and I'm already $16,000 in the black. That comes to about $56,000 for a full trailer. And actually, I only sold about 1/3 of what the sawmill produced. It's a pretty good deal with this sawmill, no complaints there. As I expected, waste is also produced, namely sawdust, and sawdust can be sold too. Extra money always comes in handy. For now, I'll stack these smaller pallets and I'll leave those long planks. I won't be selling them for now. I don't need to. I also need to deal with the trees and the terrain because my goal is to create a new island. Any island really, it doesn't even have to be huge, as long as I can build something. From what I know, FS Master has plans for a big island, a very big island. So honestly, I'm a little worried about what will happen to the server. Will it all not explode? Because unfortunately, that's a possibility. It could all just explode at any moment. Crossing the water will soak these planks a bit, but maybe no one at the collection point will notice the wood is slightly wet. We already have over 100,000, specifically 110,000, and we still have bales to collect and sell, so there should be quite a bit more coming from this. I'll send a worker to prepare the field for sowing. I hope he'll manage this time, because last time he finished the job before he really started doing anything. He probably went around once and that's it. We're taking the equipment for sawdust. The last trees that are still here need to be cut down and put in the chipper because there are still quite a few trees. Only the smaller ones are so troublesome. It's just hard to work with them. I'm starting the chipper and going with the first tree. I'll be loading 3 at a time because I've mastered this technique quite well. As you can see, it's going quite smoothly. The tree is in 3 parts and everything gets chipped right away. With these small bushes, it's even worse than with big trees. The chipper doesn't want to take them in, but it should. Okay, never mind. We'll throw in a big log, it will definitely push the rest and everything will get chipped. I think it will soon be time to sell. Actually, maybe not. This trailer still has some room. Before, I didn't care and would load it onto the small trailer and the rest stayed in the chipper. So now from one extreme to another. I want to go sell with an empty trailer, and before it was 20 times more packed. It's already empty on the island. There's not much left to cut down. The worker finished the job perfectly. For now, that's enough for us. How much do we have here? 93,000 liters of sawdust. Litrów wiórów. I'll park it and try to load more sawdust from the factory. There was quite a bit of it. In total, we have 111,000 liters. That's quite a lot of waste collected. For a not fully loaded trailer of wood chips, we got 181,000. That's quite a substantial amount. I definitely need a self-loading bale trailer now, so I don't have to collect everything manually anymore. I'm renting the trailer for $2,575 a month. We're moving with this equipment, and I think it's time to start creating some island, but we'll see. For now, I'll just gather all the bales lying here, and then we can move on to the next tasks. We'll definitely need to send a worker to sow this field and the other one I prepared in the previous episode. The grass is lying uncollected, but I'll gather that with the next mowing. We're selling the bales. So, here's the thing. 24,000 zloty for this transport. Well, it's not as impressive as the profits from the wood I sold earlier, but I have 308,000 in the account, so that's quite a lot. I'm returning the machines I won't need anymore. Now we can send a worker to sow. What should we sow here? Wheat. Let it be wheat. We could buy some chickens, although I'm not particularly drawn to chickens right now. I prefer greenhouses. It has always been profitable and still is. Whether in farming 22 or farming 25, greenhouses work as they should. We're packing everything. Unfortunately, I only have one greenhouse for now. I'll need to build more, but we'll manage that somehow. We're selling the greenhouse products and some cash should flow in. 38,000. That's quite a lot. The greenhouse has already paid for itself several times over. I'm planting trees in advance, so they'll be ready for the next day after fast forwarding time, obviously for cutting. We're planting store-bought trees because in farming 25, natural trees are worse than in farming 22. You can't speed them up, so there's no point in planting them normally because they grow incredibly slowly. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I encourage you to subscribe. There's a big subscribe button on the screen. You can click it and it'll be nice. I'll definitely be happy, and I think you will be too, because there will be many interesting videos. This is just the beginning, so the episodes will get better and better. Let's hope so. I started mowing. Luckily, my mower already automatically rakes the grass into rows. I won't have to rake it all with a rake, just immediately use the FS Master that wraps the bale in plastic for fermentation. As you might have noticed, under the grass I'm mowing, there are already rows of mowed grass. That's because I left them after the last mowing, and now I'm mowing the grass in the same place, and I'll collect it all at once. I wonder what FS Master is scheming on his island now. I don't know if he started building another island yet or not. From what I see, he's sowing something right now. He came to the store with a seeder, so he's not creating an island yet. At least nothing indicates that. I'll quickly check how it looks with that big chipper. Is it worth buying? I don't think so. I think my chipper is enough because FS Master just bought that big chipper on a truck and came to steal my wood. Since he's stealing my wood, I'll pretend I don't see it and start creating an island, and then I'll take back from his island what he stole from me with some interest for the loan. But as you can see, creating an island works terribly. I'm waving this brush and nothing is reacting. Money is flowing from the account, and it's unclear for what exactly. And it will keep editing like this for a few more minutes even though I stopped doing anything a while ago. It's just awful when it comes to terrain editing. It works terribly. I'll replace my greenhouse. I don't want the one I had before. Look what's happening with this island. It really works horribly. It's already eaten up 150,000 and the island looks like nothing has changed. It's still as tiny as before and I even lowered it. It might turn out that we'll be working in the water. Water may sometimes flood the island, but luckily in farming it doesn't matter. Normally that wouldn't work, but in the game you can easily work knee-deep in water. I was going to cut this out, but decided to show it to you. You know what happened? Suddenly all the USB components disconnected from my computer. The controller went crazy, the tractor went crazy, the farming went crazy, and I started driving in circles. Luckily, just in circles and not all the way to the other side of the map, which actually happened to FS Master in one of the episodes. When FS Master got kicked off the server, his tractor just kept driving forward far into the water. Fortunately, it's shallow, so he didn't drown, but he had quite a way to come back. That's for sure. I'm making some bales here, and soon we might be able to finish creating this island. Maybe the game will allow us. Quite a few bales should come out. As you can see, the neighbor has already left with the wood transport from my island. I don't know why this neighbor has to keep stealing from my island. You have your own, and yet you're stealing here. I guess he wants his island to look nice, so he steals from me. What factories could we buy? Furniture, we could use furniture. I'll place them somewhere here next to the existing factory. We're taking out a loan because that's what we agreed with FS Master. $1 million for creating the island and general investments. That came from my neighbor's initiative because he wanted to create a big island and decided that since the game works as it does, we just have to take a loan to create the island. Maybe we can pay it back later, just to have something to play on because there's really no land here. No land, there's nothing to do without that loan. But I have an idea for something that will give me a big cash injection, and that's how I'll pay off the loan. Maybe there'll be enough for another island to create. As you can see, the money keeps leaving the account. I edited this passage, to make it nice to drive through. Now the money isn't leaving anymore. It stopped. You can edit further. I'm placing the factory I mentioned, but this ditch is in the way. I don't want to level the terrain because it just doesn't work. Plus FS Master is also editing and creating his island right now. Even though only one person is doing it, the lag is gigantic. As you can see, I placed the factory. Oh wait, it actually got placed. I wanted to say I'm placing a factory and nothing happens. It's hanging in the air. The ground isn't preparing beneath it. But no, this time it worked. I'll start everything, switch to distributing goods to my furniture factory, and I think I'll place a greenhouse here, this time with mushrooms. As you can see, nothing is happening. I'm placing it, but the land isn't leveling. This is because of the terrain editing. FS Master is creating his island right now, and nothing is working for me. Even placing the greenhouse doesn't want to work. Oh, now it appeared. I guess he stopped editing and it started working. It immediately leveled all the land around the greenhouse. For nearly $1 million, I placed the greenhouse, and now they all need to be set to automatic selling. Let it somehow sell automatically. I don't know how they'll get in there, I don't know how they'll take it, but honestly, I don't care. The important thing is that the money will be coming into the account. The last pass, this row and the row next to it, and then we can probably move on to cutting down trees. We definitely need to fill the sawmill. We definitely need to deliver wood to the sawmill and the furniture factory. The sawmill distribution will work automatically, but I can also add regular wood to make it a bit faster and last longer. Let's start by selling wood chips. For now, chips. Later, I want to fill the sawmills, but I'll throw in the uglier trees there. I'll choose the ugliest ones possible and throw everything in there. But for now, let's tidy up here a bit. In this episode, I didn't plant many trees, but I planted so many before that it's now hard to move around freely here. I just need to watch out so the neighbor doesn't place his trailer here, because he's going to be scheming. I'll reveal that this whole series is just neighbors bothering each other. Actually, the neighbor was bothering me more. He not only steals wood from the island, but also sneaks his trailer under mine, so I end up dumping onto it, then he sells it and makes money. And I don't pay attention and sometimes I miss it. As I said, the ugliest tree goes to the sawmill. I'll remove this stump so it doesn't get in my way. I'll also throw in this tree. I've run out of those ugly trees. I wanted to throw this in too, but as you can see, it won't fit entirely. I need to cut it into smaller parts and try to fill the sawmill to 100%. The sawmill is full. 100,000 liters of wood are waiting to be processed into planks. We keep grinding. We have $2,000 in the account. The neighbor is probably building a big island there already. Luckily you can't see it here, but during terrain editing there's such lag on the server and few frames. I worried the whole episode during recording that it would look terrible, but from what I see in fast forward, you can't see it at all. That's good, because it could have really looked bad without the fast forward. How much more can fit on the trailer? Probably still plenty of space, so let's keep cutting. I wonder what the neighbor is up to over there. Maybe we can scout the area and they won't chase us away. Although I don't visit him too often. Almost never. He visits my island quite often, so I should return the favor and go there too. Maybe borrow some chips. I'll load the last tree and we'll go sell everything. Our account has gone into the red. Unfortunately, again. And things were finally looking good. 300,000 in the account and it's in the red again. But that will change very quickly. I've ground everything I wanted. Now I'm heading straight to the market to sell the load and get out of the red. As you can see, I made 184,000 PLN from this trailer full of wood chips. Now I'm turning on all the greenhouses and need to set them to automatic selling, turn on the irrigation and so on to get everything producing. There are so many greenhouses, it's hard to keep track of everything. The worker finished sowing, so I'm hopping in the tractor to take it back to my parking area where all my machines are. I'll grab a mower because I have a good idea. I'll make grass on the new island. It will be an island with grass. That's the plan. And I might be mowing in the water because this island seems a bit submerged. But we'll manage. I'm not afraid of the water here. Let's go. Is there a reasonable passage here? Not too shallow, not too deep. As you can see, the water is splashing under the wheel. We're working in the water. Although it's strange because this land is above the water, it must be some waves coming in, and that's why there's water all over the island. Otherwise, I don't know how to explain it. If the land is above the water, why is there water on the island? Why are we mowing the grass in the water? Never mind. The most important thing is we have 163,000 in the account. We can still invest it somehow. We'll finish mowing and move on immediately, as there's still plenty to do. But that's for the next episode. Subscribe to the channel and see you next time. We started in the middle of the ocean with $0 in the bank and really big plans. What's up everyone? Welcome to another episode of the 1 vs 1 series on the islands with the FS Master. We're starting off by making bales, but take a look at what's on the horizon. See that undeveloped island right there? It actually appeared between the 4th and this current 5th episode. I had some money in my account from the last episode, but terraforming here is so horrendously expensive and works so badly that I completely wiped out my account. I had to give up all I had, and on top of that, I even had to take a special grant to help me create this island. My island ended up costing around $1.5 million in total, whereas my neighbor's land leveling project came out to a massive $7 million. I did all this to even out the financial playing field and make sure we'd actually have something to do here. My neighbor, the FS Master, naturally agreed to it, of course. Well, how could he refuse, since he built an island for $7 million using a subsidy himself? Today, I really want to properly develop my land. We're about to start mowing the grass, although there's actually almost none of it here at all. What a total bust. I completely forgot that I pretty much mowed the entire island in the last episode, and we haven't even advanced time yet. I'll quickly mow these leftovers and give my neighbor a moment to get ready before we skip a day. The work is progressing at an incredible pace. My mower boasts a wide working width, so I'm quickly cutting down these remaining patches of grass. Just 2, perhaps 3 more passes and it'll all be mowed down. So for now, I'm just about done mowing this grass. I'm parking the mower in my machine lot, then I'll hook up the trailer and head on over to the forest island to finally get to the real work. I completely emptied my wallet, leaving me unable to even purchase a simple saw from the store. There's no time to wait, as long as that neighbor isn't up to something and stealing my forest. I'm grabbing a pallet of planks and running to the selling point just to get things moving. With absolutely nothing in my account, I cannot work. There goes the first full pallet of wood chips. $8,000 earned in an instant. Thanks to that, I could afford a chainsaw and really get started on cutting down some trees. Because of a multiplayer bug in Farming Simulator, I have to keep buying a new chainsaw. But oh, I see him now. The neighbor's arrived and he's shamelessly checking out my equipment. He'll probably back his trailer up here any second and steal all my hard work. He clearly wants to bankrupt me. I'm slaving away, sweating, cutting down trees and grinding them into chips, and he just shows up like a typical thief for the finished product. I won't even voice my thoughts aloud, or YouTube will take me down in a flash. We'll keep cutting and sell it right away. It's a great month for earnings, and wood prices are rocketing sky high. I'm recording this a while after playing. I think it was January, but no matter. The profits are rolling in big time. I wonder what the neighbor's up to over there. He's probably just scheming, trying to back up his trailer and pilfer my goods the moment I avert my gaze from the wood chipper. I need to make a lot of cash to cover my losses from building the island. Let me know in the comments if you also think I'm easily catching up to him with my equipment and overall farm development. And just like that, my neighbor is already pulling up with his trailer. He's gonna back right up and shamelessly try to block my exit. I wish he'd just give up on all these shenanigans already. This time I see he's at least trying to cut honestly, although those are still trees on my island. At least he's not stealing from my wood chipper this time. He tried to block me, but I found a clever shortcut and drove right through. He was in total, absolute shock, completely stunned, and I had just earned a whopping $184,000 in pure cash. I used my new shortcut to get back into the woods. He can try to block me, but I'll always find a way out to sell my goods. If you're also interested in playing on this map, or perhaps any of my other maps, feel free to join me on my Patreon. There you'll find all of my maps and all of the mods that I currently use. Oh, look at that! He got completely stuck and drove straight into the water. He fell into the lake with a trailer full to the brim with wood chips. Now he's completely screwed. I'm just going to keep grinding away with a smile, while he's left there to struggle in that water. Of course, the smartass won't lose chips. He'll just reset the tractor to the shop and get his equipment back. I'll admit it, I also fell into the water a moment later. I reset the machine, and thankfully, nothing was lost from that infinite tank within the wood chipper. The load is safely recovered, but I still have to keep an eye on the neighbor, because he's up to something again. I cut down tree after tree, grind everything into wood chips, and repeat this cycle over and over. Wood's like gold, so no complaints, just gotta do it. I'm leaving the wood chipper, hitching up the trailer, and heading directly to the dealership to sell what I've managed to grind up. For a total of 56,000 liters of wood chips, I've managed to rake in over $92,000. We've already managed to accumulate a total of $283,000 in our account. I'm driving up for a fresh trailer of wood, but hold on a minute. I still need to quickly make these darn bales before fast forwarding time. I have more than enough wood logs for the time being, but I absolutely don't want the cut grass to rot out in the field. I have to sell everything. And a quick reminder, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we're almost at the magical 10,000 subscribers, and from there it's straight to 100,000. Baling and wrapping is going pretty smoothly. The white marshmallows are popping out of my baler one after another. I am truly content with the decision I made to invest my money into purchasing this particular baling press. It truly streamlines and significantly speeds up my work. Alright, with such a massive amount of cash, I'm taking a big risk and building the very first greenhouses on my new island. And here's a super important piece of advice for all of you. Under no circumstances should you ever build those expensive glass greenhouses, as they are simply not profitable in the slightest. Only get the cheaper foil ones, because they are 100% just as efficient. I'm setting up mass production of lettuce everywhere, but I'm absolutely not turning on automatic selling. I'll be manually hauling these green pallets myself, since the automatic option cuts into my profits, and the pallet sales point is just around the corner. I wanted to add more goods to the sawmill to start, but it turned out the tanks were filled to the brim, so I took the rest straight to our furniture factory. Everything's connected in a truly cohesive supply chain, so let's fast forward 3 whole months. Now hold on to your seats, just look at the thousands pouring into my account right this very moment. These greenhouses, which I've set up for automatic selling, brought me well over $200,000, just from fast forwarding time. That's a gigantic amount of cash. I'm grabbing the trailer with autoload, and it turns out this feature actually works. I only found out about this miracle after manually loading dozens of pallets. I'm loading up some beautiful clean planks. That's several tens of thousands in additional cash for the rapid development of the island. A single pallet of these boards goes for 8,000 here, just one of them. We've loaded exactly 5 pallets, so 40,000 smoothly rolls in. Then I carefully loaded the rare manufactured furniture. There aren't many here visually, but remember, just one pallet of furniture is a true rarity, worth a fortune. I naively believed I'd make a $100,000 from this run. Ultimately, I ended up pulling in $60,000 from that sale, which is still a massive influx of funds, you know. Soon I'll finally have to harvest all this mature grain. I'm still debating whether to get into chickens or just skip it. For now, I'll collect these wrapped bales from the field to cash them in too. We'll see at the selling point how much we ultimately make on these white marshmallows. I definitely want to use these profits to decorate my currently barren island. I've got plenty of money, so I'm not planning on scrimping. One bale, quite mischievously, slid off and plunged right into the water. We've already got 75% of the entire trailer loaded up. Just 3 more bales, and I'll drop the full load at the selling point. I'll have to come back here for a second trip though, because it won't all fit in one go. For these 24 round bales, I was mentally betting on a massive profit of about $50,000. Unfortunately, my business plan is a bit weak today, because barely 30,000 showed up on the monitor. That comes out to just over 1,000 apiece, but this isn't the end. I still have many bales to collect from the field. They're all fermented and ready for sale. And thanks to that, I'll be earning tens of thousands more dollars. My self-collecting trailer is filling up at an express pace. In just a little while, another shipment is about to be sold. I've collected all bales from the first island. Now I'm driving to the second to continue collecting. The last bale's on the trailer. Now it's time to sell. I sold the entire load of silage. An extra $30,000 landed in my account, and the total balance is now well over $300,000. I still have a few bales left to collect. It won't be a full trailer load this time, but every $1,000 I can get will certainly help. $3,800 has been added to my account. Well, there's always something. Now I'll use this incredibly powerful autoloader to automatically load up dozens of lettuce pallets. This should bring in a crazy amount of money. I'm guessing around $200,000, sight unseen. There's no possible way that all of this is going to fit on just one trailer. I think we're looking at least 3 trips to sell this. The first load is packed full. Floor it, and let's go cash this in. And by the way, I wonder what the neighbor is cooking up. I can see from a distance that he's finally, passionately mowing his little grain field. The FS Master most likely strongly desires to get into flour production. Please let me know in the comments if you've seen him already build a mill at his place, or if he perhaps invested that fortune in a flock of chickens instead. Meanwhile, I dropped off the pallets at the selling point, and boom, I raked in a cool $127,000, and now I'm loading up the remaining pallets to really wring out every last dollar and absolutely maximize my earnings on this lettuce harvest. There was absolutely enough room to load up all the pallets I produced. The transport is completely full, 100%, $127,000. That's exactly what I made from selling all those lettuce pallets. My account balance currently stands at over $568,000. I wonder what my neighbor's account balance looks like right now. I hope he is behind me. The neighbor can't be doing better than me. I'm parking the tractor right now, and then I'm off to the shop. It's time to rent a brand new harvester. I'll be using this equipment for approximately $15,000 a month. I truly hope this investment proves worthwhile. We're taking on this powerful red Massey Ferguson, which I've just rented, and we're putting it through its paces. The truth is painful. My field's so tiny, I could have handled it just as quickly with some rusty old contraption. But whatever, I just really wanted a taste of luxury and a change of scenery at work. The mowing itself is going incredibly fast. With this new machine, I'll literally make just 4 short passes from edge to edge, and the entire field will be mowed. I totally wasted money on this rental, but hey, at least I have some luxury equipment. I really need to acquire more extensive tracts of land so that this colossal harvester has ample work to do and can ultimately pay for itself. But for now, I'm just going to turn it off and leave it alone. I'm calculating the profits in my head right now, and I'm quite certain we'll easily reach our first $1 million in this very episode. The rivalry with my neighbor is heating up like never before. But wait a minute, you need to remember one super important overwhelming thing. We both took out a huge loan for development. We each have exactly $1 million of debt at the bank that we'll have to pay back someday. Honestly, I'd bet all the money in the world that neither of us is ever going to pay this bank loan back willingly. We're going to be stuck with these gigantic debts on paper until the very end of this farming series. I'm 1,000,000% sure the FS Master has already completely forgotten about his loan. Therefore remember, when you're checking the statistics from our beautiful final balance, you will always have to subtract that nice round million fairly and squarely. Another trailer is filling up with wood chips. Log after log goes into the wood chipper. I'm cutting down more trees so I can head to the selling point and boost my account with a nice sum of money. Sold. Let's book the profits. And after this transaction, we already have a staggering $613,000 in the account. With over $500,000, it's definitely high time to start investing heavily. I could construct some highly profitable factories, skillfully design a network of access roads, or perhaps I might even be tempted to purchase a significantly larger tractor. But let's take it easy. First, my priority is to build some permanent infrastructure for the machines. I'm going to put up 2 massive, truly enormous garages right here on this plot of land. Realistically, I think these 2 sheds will be more than enough for now. I probably won't be cramming a whole lot in there or parking daily, but maintaining immaculate order at the base is absolutely imperative, and that's final. My plan is to later add a charming little house on the coast for relaxation, a delightful retreat. But first, we will dive into the serious business of decorating the raw terrain around the sheds, truly making it our own. I'm skipping the asphalt and tastefully choosing raw, hard concrete. So, I'm getting started on this big general cleanup of the farm's main yard area. Although, you know what? Why should I sweat for nothing and waste my precious time? I've just come up with a significantly better, brilliant business idea. I'm simply going to return all these machines that I'm no longer using at all. That way, I'll get rid of unnecessary costs and have less to clean up. Only a fool would keep pointlessly shuffling them from corner to corner, when, hand on heart, I have no intention of ever using them for any job on this farm again. I'm currently relocating all my equipment to the new shed. Finally, everything will be well organized here. My neighbor can definitely learn a thing or two about how things should look. His place is always a complete mess. His machines are even parked right there on the shop island. The machines are now under a roof. So, it's high time to finally grab a paintbrush and at least superficially decorate this dismal island with some vibrant green grass. Without the grass, this entire area just looks like one enormous, depressing, muddy battlefield after some heavy struggles, or perhaps even a swamp. I'm meticulously and precisely painting fresh, vibrant green grass on my island. Let this place finally stop being such an eyesore and actually start looking aesthetically pleasing to everyone around here. In the back of my mind, I was planning and really wanted to create a massive, huge field for sowing in this specific episode. Because of this new and expansive field, I was eager to go shopping and purchase a significantly larger, more powerful tractor to tow the equipment. However, time, regrettably, is relentless and unforgiving, so we will delve into that in the following episode. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll be seeing you all very soon. We started in the middle of the ocean with $0 in our account and big plans. Welcome to the 6th episode of our fierce one-on-one rivalry with the FS Master. First, I'm renting a powerful case quad track and a large cultivator to make a new field. Whoa, did you just see that? My neighbor bumped into me and then ended up in a ditch, sinking his tractor. That's what you call instant karma. Serves him right. I'll take my new purchase, and he can struggle to get his tractor out. The anti-neighbor campaign continues. This is payback for all those shameless trips to steal my wood and swipe materials from my trailer. I got to work creating a new field on the island we were dealing with in the last episode. It might not be absolutely gigantic, but for all of our current needs, it's going to be more than enough to suffice. Besides, I don't have open land for larger fields. With this new equipment, creating a field happens in a flash. And just like that, it's finished. And you, my friends, can take a quick moment to check out my Patreon and consider subscribing to the channel. Please let me know in the comments which country you're watching my videos from, and give this video a boost if you have that option. After creating the field, I decided to invest $300,000 in a barrel factory. I placed it next to the furniture factory, an extra option for processing my wood from the forest island. I instantly went to the island that was mentioned, and started cutting down the most unappealing twisted trees, planning to load them directly into the sawmill. Thousands of planks will need to be produced there to supply the barrel factory. The next step was to expand the field on the starting island. Since I have this large cultivator, I have to use it. We're now in the ultimate phase of our confrontation. All will be settled in this episode, and we'll witness the conclusion of my clash with the neighbor. The field has been expanded, so now it's time to spend some money and decorate my islands. In terms of investments, I'm a bit behind my neighbor, so I'll try to at least make my area look a whole lot better than his. We'll see if my artistic talents will prove to be of any use whatsoever. First, I'm planting trees everywhere, and some small bushes too. For $22,000, I'm putting up a house, a fence around it, and I'm starting to decorate the coastline and build roads. My islands are starting to look better and better. In my opinion, definitely better than my neighbor's islands, but I'll leave that for you to judge in the comments. The roads are finished, and now I'm heading straight to the shop to stock up on a giant cedar. For $6,000, I filled the cedar with seeds and fertilizer, and now I'm starting a worker to plant sugar beets in this field. Meanwhile, I'll be over on another island, mowing grass to prepare for baling it later on. Right now, I have barely $14,000 in my account, and that amount keeps dropping. Once everything is sown and all the grass bales are wrapped in foil, we can fast forward several months, and then my account balance will significantly increase once I've sold off all the produce. The grass on this island is mowed, so I'm heading to the next one to mow the rest of the grass I have left around my new house and the large field I created earlier. The worker has finished planting the beets, so I need to hire him again to do the exact same thing on this new field. With this equipment, work flies by. In a flash, the sugar beets were sown. I parked the tractor with the cedar and hopped into the John Deere with the baler. I'm quickly making bales across all 3 of my freshly mowed grass fields. I really can't wait to sell them, but first, I'm going to have to fast forward a few months, so everything ferments nicely. I managed to collect all the grass. Now there are dozens of wrapped bales lying on my islands. I can already smell the profits from the sale. Let's fast forward a few months. The money in my account is piling up fast. Everything's working as it should. The factories are producing, the grass bales are fermenting, and the sown beets are ripening for harvest. I'm renting a pallet collecting trailer and heading straight to my factories, because dozens of pallets filled with furniture, barrels, and other wood products are waiting for me there, which will probably earn me hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm loading as much as I can onto my trailer and going to sell it. Time to make some money, because that's what our 1 vs 1 series is all about. My neighbor can't be better than me. I have to beat him, earn more than him, and build a better farm than he did. We're getting closer to the finale, so I need to pick up the pace of earning. I've loaded up a full trailer and I'm off to sell it. Guess in the comments how much this load is worth. I earned $90,000 from selling these products. Frankly, I'm a bit surprised I made so little, but there's no point in being sad about it. I still have dozens of pallets of lettuce to sell. I'll just make a road to my greenhouses and get to selling. I'll definitely make more than $90,000 here. I'm loading up all these pallets to sell them. A few trips later, and the greenhouses are empty, but the amount in my account has definitely gone up. I have over $448,000, which means the lettuce alone brought in about $200,000. And I still have quite a few silage bales to sell, so I should easily be able to exceed $500,000. I'm currently collecting all the bales using my automatic round bale collecting trailer. Everything's collected, so I'm selling the last load now. Sadly, I couldn't quite reach $500,000, but it's still pretty good. I've already accumulated $486,000. I wonder what my rival's account balance on the other island looks like. It's time to rent some beet harvesting equipment, and then collect everything I had planted earlier. I'll get a worker started on the first field, and I'll get busy investing my money. I have $445,000, so that should be enough for me to build a sugar refinery. I'm always keeping in mind that at the very end of this episode, you all will be judging who performed better and ultimately won this duel. It's not even about the account balance, it's more about the big picture and the kind of farm we managed to build. I just put down a sugar refinery for $240,000. I truly believe this will be an excellent investment. My rival likely didn't put money into sugar beet processing, so I reckon I'm pulling ahead here. Sugar refinery's built, so now I need to supply it with raw materials. This field will produce hundreds of thousands of liters of beets. The sugar mill will be busy. Every single full tank holds 40,000 liters. While the worker was harvesting one tank of beets after another, I got busy cutting and chipping trees for wood chips to earn a little extra. I sold a trailer of wood chips for $25,000. Every so often I would haul trailers overflowing with sugar beets to the refinery and then get right back to cutting and chipping trees. I also filled up the sawmill so it has plenty of wood to process and send to the other factories to make furniture, barrels, and other products. I planted some new trees, ensuring my forest island wouldn't appear quite so ugly and barren. After that, I put another $100,000 into additional greenhouses, which are set to generate a significant passive profit for me. We've fast forwarded a few months. My account balance has grown from automatic sales at the factories, and now I need to sell everything that's on pallets waiting for transport. Finally, I can park the beet harvester under the shed. Everything's harvested, not a single beet left in the field. I'm selling the first trailer of lettuce pallets for almost $120,000, and that's just the beginning. The second load is sold, and another $117,000 just hit my account. All in all, I've already accumulated $415,000. I also sold products from the barrel factory, bringing in $73,000. Now I'm loading up the sugar we produced and I'm off to sell it. We're slowly running out of time. I need to sell everything, and we'll see what balance I can end this duel with. $39,000 came into the account for the sugar transport. To boost my account balance a little more, I'm going to chip even more trees and then make one last big delivery to the store. This will most likely be the final sale. No more chipping for me. I'm heading to the shop right now. I sell the load and $100,000 hits the account, bringing my total to over $624,000. This is the ultimate balance that I'm ending this whole duel with. We started off in the middle of the ocean, with not a single dollar in our bank account and grand plans, and we're ending with a final balance of $624,000. If you've made it to the very end of this video, go check out my rival's perspective and judge who won this duel. An island with an active volcano that could erupt at any moment. Nearby are two smaller, completely empty islands. There's nothing on them, but it's on these that I'm going to build my farm. There's also a fourth island, far from the others and full of trees. Wood that could be worth an absolute fortune. But there's just one problem. I don't know how to reach it. First, I must earn enough for the journey and expand the farm sufficiently to afford a boat and escape this island before its inevitable demise, which could happen any day now. I'm starting with $0, just a tent and a fishing rod. No gear, no plan. Actually, there's just one. Go fishing, because there's nothing else I can do. I find the very first spot by the shore that looks promising. I cast my line and patiently wait. Only silence, peace, and the waves. And the volcano to my left, just so I don't ever forget the precarious situation I'm in. After a moment something bites, a short fight, and I manage to catch a salmon. €100 doesn't sound like much, but for someone who had absolutely zero 5 minutes ago, it feels like I've won the lottery. The problem is, I need €1,000 for a chainsaw. No saw, no trees from the other island, no wood, no progress. So I cast again, and again, and again. I was waiting again, when I felt a tug. It turned out my fishing line had snagged on an old, dirty, unsightly tire. As you can see, it's not just fish swimming in this ocean. Someone was here before and clearly didn't care about ecology. Oh well, I can't stop the volcano with a tire. I cast again. Then silence, longer than the last time. I was just about to think I'd pull out another boot or a beer can again, but then suddenly, a sharp tug. A strong one. Something big is on the end of this line. I fight it for a good while and finally pull out a salmon worth 400 euros. Suddenly I'm already halfway towards getting that chainsaw. Maybe this island isn't so bad after all. Well, at least until you look towards the volcano. Another salmon, smaller this time, 100 euros. Not every fish must be a record. What's important is the balance grows. Next fish bites instantly. From the first second it pulls like crazy and breaks free. Well, not every fish is willing to cooperate with my escape plan from the island, it seems. Another fish, just a standard trout, but it still adds an extra 100 euros to our budget. Only 300 more to reach 1,000. I'm waiting a long time again, but finally, a bite. I reel it in quickly and easily. Too easily. I pulled out a bucket. An empty bucket. I think there's more trash in this ocean than fish. I'm only 300 euros away from my goal. I cast my line and catch a trout. Bigger than the last one, 200 euros. Now I just need 100 more to reach my goal. Just one fish. Literally one fish separates me from a chainsaw and real earnings. Finally, I caught a salmon, worth 200 euros this time. So I've got 1100 euros in my account, which means no more fishing. Time to trade the fishing rod for something that makes a bit more noise. I'm buying a chainsaw and making my way towards the trees. That's where the real work begins. The first tree is down. The saw goes through the trunk like butter. Probably the best investment in my life. I need to cut it into smaller pieces because I can't move it whole. Piece by piece, methodically. It's hard work, but at least I can see the results right away. Unlike staring at the water with a fishing rod for half the day, I'm carrying it piece by piece to the collecting point. It's a lot of hard work, but because I cut everything into much smaller pieces, it actually becomes manageable. I sell it and 5,400 euros land in my account. And that's just for one tree. I immediately cut down another one and started chopping it into smaller parts to transport it all to the collecting point. I'm starting to get the hang of this. I carry it piece by piece. I sell it, and another 5,000 euros hit my account. It's time to make a real investment. I'm heading to the shop right now to purchase a sheep pen and 10 sheep. The plan is simple. Trees provide quick cash, but the sheep will be earning for me in the background while I continue to cut down more trees. They'll be doing their own thing. On this island, everyone's gotta work. Even the sheep. The sheep need to be fed, and for mowing grass, I need a tractor. That's why I cut down another tree, and I'm hauling it to the collecting point in pieces. I'll earn approximately 5,000 euros from this, allowing me to afford to purchase a tractor. After selling the wood, I have 6,900 euros in my account, so I go to the shop and buy a tractor for 5,900. All I'm missing now is a mower that I can easily connect to this tractor. However, I very quickly realized that I couldn't afford a mower for it. I have the tractor, but without a mower, it's just an expensive toy. Well, another tree's down, and it's getting faster now. With every tree, I'm getting into a better rhythm. Cut, carry, sell. Yet another tree, and once again over 5,000 euros. I've finally found the ideal mower. 4,100 euros. Cheap, but wide. It should do the job, and on top of that, the cheapest machine for collecting grass on the market. Just 200 euros. Only 200 euros for an agricultural machine to collect grass. Suspiciously cheap, but I can't be picky. We'll see if there's a catch. Something other than a saw and trees, I'm on the tractor, hooking up the mower, and off we go. As I always have to mention, my absolute favorite activity in farming is precisely the task of mowing the grass. And if you'd also like to play on this map, or on any of my other maps, and utilize the modifications I use, I invite you to check out my Patreon. You'll find everything there. I also encourage you to subscribe to my channel and like the video. If you have the option, let me know in the comments what country you're watching from, and if the dubbing in your language sounds good. And now it's time to test this wonderful 200 euro machine. First catch, you don't connect this to a tractor, and pushing this machine by hand over uneven terrain, that's not a pleasant experience at all. But alright, I think to myself it's really not that bad. And then I try to unload it, and it just turns out that I can't. Grass goes in, but it doesn't come out. 200 euros for a machine that just eats grass. They sold me some junk. Oh well, on this island even shopping is gambling. I need to quickly earn enough for a decent trailer for collecting grass. One that I can hook up to the tractor so I don't have to push it by hand. A lesson for the future. If something costs 200 euros, there's probably a reason. New self-loading trailer, 8,000 euros. Hook it to a tractor, and you'll see the difference fast. I'm collecting the grass I mowed earlier. It's going instantly. I pull up to the enclosure, unload it, and the sheep stare at me as if I'd brought them a measly snack, not a proper dinner. It's definitely not enough. I'm heading out to mow some more. One more trailer should do it, but I'd rather mow a little extra just in case. Better for them to have too much than too little. Hungry sheep are not productive, and I need every animal on this island working towards my escape. Taking advantage of this free moment, I have a discount code for you to buy a gaming chair or an ergonomic chair. All the information is in the description, of course. I personally use the ergonomic chair, and there's a link to that too. I highly recommend it. It's really comfortable and at a great price, especially with the discount code. I'm unloading everything and taking a good look. On the surface, it seems perfectly fine. Trough is full. The sheep are happy. They're not giving me that reproachful look anymore. There's still some grass left to collect in the field, so I'll grab it and head straight to the pen. I'm not leaving food on the ground, not when I've got 10 hungry sheep to feed. Time for something that should have been done a long time ago, a bridge to the fourth island. The one full of trees that I couldn't get to before because of the deep ditch surrounding it. I don't have much money left in my account, so I probably can't build a luxurious construction. A simple wooden bridge, as long as it can hold the weight of my tractor. That's good enough for me. It doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to work. On this island, aesthetics are truly the very last thing on my mind. The bridge is up, an island with trees within reach, but there's no point going there without a decent wood trailer. Up to this point, I've carried everything on my own back, and that's okay for just one tree, but there are dozens of them waiting over there. I'm not running back and forth over that bridge 100 times, carrying it piece by piece. I cut down the last tree left on this side, I sold it, and I'm heading straight to the shop. It's finally time to get properly equipped. I've invested 3,800 euros, and with that, I'm now heading onto the fourth island with a brand new trailer, ready to start felling the first trees. Here, money literally grows on trees. My new equipment truly makes this work much easier, so it's going at lightning speed. I know this will help me quickly earn money for the essentials and bring me closer to escaping the island. I'm getting back to mowing, because every patch of green on this island has to earn its keep. The grass won't just sit there. In the meantime, I bought a machine that will make specific use of it. You can't see it yet. I'm keeping it a secret, but you'll soon see what it is and why I needed it so badly. Another piece of the puzzle is falling into its spot. Right after mowing, I have to make another trip to the island with the trees, because my plans require increasing financial outlays. This time the work is progressing exceptionally smoothly. Cutting and transporting the trees are easy and pleasant, and I truly feel like I'm finally in command of this entire area. Each successive log landing on the trailer means pure profit for me, which brings me closer to acquiring a grass bale wrapper. I absolutely need this machine to move on to the new stage of the economy, and the very fact that I need it should give you a substantial hint. So what did I buy after my first visit to the forest? I hauled a few trees to the collecting point and sold them. I had over 20,000 euros in my account, which meant I could comfortably afford to purchase a bale wrapper for 14,000 euros. I still need to mow a bit more grass, because my plan involves silage production on a large scale. I will need a significant amount of grass bales for this endeavor. I am hoping for immense profits. Every square meter of green space presents an opportunity to more quickly finance my getaway. Machines are running, grass is disappearing, and in my mind, I'm converting every grass pile into euros, inching closer to my goal. On this island, there's no room for half measures. I'm trying to do everything properly, otherwise I won't be able to escape before the volcano erupts. The time has come to use that mysterious machine I bought earlier. As you might have already guessed, this is a baling press, specifically a class baling press. It's the smallest machine on the market for small bales, but the important thing is that it works. This investment is supposed to bring me a specific profit. I'm counting on the cost of purchase to pay off with the very first sale of silage. As you might have noticed, I haven't used any raker before to form nice rows of grass. For now, such luxuries are simply beyond my means. Every new machine sets me back thousands of euros, translating to at least one more tree to fell and transport. And honestly, I just don't have the time to spare for that. Besides, this baler has such a wide working area that it will manage perfectly well, even without perfectly arranged rows. I drive a bit chaotically, grabbing what I can, but the end result is what counts. I won't let even a gram of grass go to waste. Now it's time to bring out yet another new machine. I'm entering the field with the bale wrapper. This is a key moment in my plan, because it's the only way I can turn ordinary grass into silage, which is worth much more on the market and will let me earn a lot more money. For me, every bale that gets wrapped is a guaranteed profit and a safe investment for the future. However, I'm not going to stop at just making silage. With the money that will be left in my wallet after all these purchases, I will additionally buy some more sheep. I want to maximize the potential of my pen and squeeze every last euro I can from their production. On this island, every penny and every pallet of wool counts. That's why I'm investing in anything that can bring me extra income and speed up my escape from this dangerous place. The falling rain and thick clouds are effectively ruining my plans for the rest of the day. They just make working under such conditions simply inefficient. So I decided not to fight the weather, but to go to bed earlier today to recharge my strength for the next challenges. I made my way to my tent, and the rhythmic drumming of raindrops on the fabric quickly lulled me into a deep sleep. I'm starting the next day with a concrete task, which is selling the wool that was produced overnight in our pen. Maybe there isn't a staggering amount yet, but it's always a reliable extra cash injection that brings me closer to the next point in my plan. This money will enable me to purchase a cultivator. This is an indispensable tool, crucial for preparing the soil and establishing our inaugural legitimate field. However, before I can even begin my farming endeavors, I absolutely must go and check on my most unpredictable neighbor to see what he's up to. I look towards the volcano. Although smoke is still rising from the crater, it doesn't look so threatening today. I'm already a little less stressed by the sight, which lets me focus on my work, instead of constantly looking over my shoulder in fear of lava. After making sure the volcano is leaving me alone for now, I immediately get to work marking out the boundaries of my first field. I really need to approach this very carefully, because my current budget doesn't allow for the purchase of powerful seeders or efficient harvesters, so attempting to create a large area would undoubtedly result in a logistical catastrophe. I also don't want to spend half the day just preparing the soil, because time is a scarce commodity on this island. Therefore, my initial field will be modest, compact, and precisely tailored to accommodate my present basic equipment. Although I haven't made a final decision on the specific grain yet, one thing is absolutely certain. It must be something that guarantees me a quick and substantial profit with the least amount of effort. I also have a plan in mind to soon bring another type of animal to the farm, so I'm considering planting something that will ultimately serve as feed. I want this field to be the foundation for a new branch of my business, one that will let me diversify my income and become less dependent on just selling wood. Every single square meter I'm marking out right now must contribute to my future freedom, before that smoking giant on the left remembers its devastating destructive potential. To earn money for seeds and all the necessary fertilizers, I had to visit the forest island again and sell a few solid trees. With this extra logging, I was able to finance everything necessary to kickstart my farming venture. I made over 14,000 euros from selling the wood. The cedar I purchased was quite inexpensive, which immediately gave me some reservations, but I'm deeply hopeful that I haven't been duped on quality this time around. On this island, every bad investment hurts twice as much, so I'm counting on this machine to just do its job without any nasty surprises. Now all that's left is to load it up and see how this budget-friendly equipment handles my brand new field. Finally, I can fill up our cedar and get to work, but it wasn't without some minor complications. For a while I couldn't figure out how to load the fertilizer into it at all, which was starting to get on my nerves. Luckily I sorted it out quickly, and after a few tries the machine was ready to go. Sometimes the simplest things can cause the most trouble, especially when you're rushing to get things done before the next unpredictable turn of the weather or volcanic eruption. Now that the tanks are full, there's nothing left to do but drive onto the field and start sowing my future fortune. As you can see, the cedar is working perfectly, gliding through the soil without the slightest resistance. This time my intuition didn't fail me, and thankfully I wasn't cheated by the seller. The machine is running smoothly, and the seed is going exactly where it should. I'm finally getting on the right track and starting to manage this land professionally. Before heading to the field, I spent a good while checking the prices at the collecting point, because I didn't want to risk growing a crop that would only earn me pennies. I believe I've chosen a truly excellent crop to plant. one that maintains a stable, high price regardless of the month I might decide to sell it. That gives me tremendous peace of mind, because I won't nervously have to track charts and wait for a precise selling window just to earn enough for the next machine. Now, as I watch the field gradually transform its color through my work, I feel a deep satisfaction, knowing that each pass of the seeder is a significant investment in my ultimate escape from this perilous island. Having sown the field and ensuring the seed was securely nestled in the earth, I deemed it the opportune moment to take the next crucial step in my farm's development. I chose chickens. I built them a small but functional enclosure and purchased 20 hens to begin with, and they promptly started to make themselves at home in their new surroundings. I didn't want to risk any downtime or production problems, so I immediately invested in a good supply of proper feed to ensure my new flock wouldn't go hungry, not even for a single moment. I'm really hoping that egg sales will turn into another consistent revenue stream, flowing into my pocket with minimal effort. On this island, diversification is the key to survival. If the price of wood suddenly dropped or the sheep stopped producing wool, the chickens will be my insurance policy. Each pallet of eggs brings me closer to buying my dream boat, and the sight of a vibrant, bustling coop makes me feel this once empty island is steadily transforming into a truly profitable venture. Now I just have to make sure the chickens always have something to eat and wait for the results of their work, all while keeping an eye on that smoking volcano crater. I finally need to get some order on my farm because working in this chaos is starting to overwhelm me. I could no longer bear to watch my machines sit in random spots, strewn across the island, vulnerable to volcanic dust or the pouring rain. So, I decided to buy my first garage. It's not just about aesthetics, but mainly about functionality. I want one specific place where I can service my equipment and prepare for the next stages of my escape. I'm getting right to the big cleanup. I hop in the tractor and one by one I bring all my belongings under the roof. The sight of machines lined up perfectly gives me immense satisfaction, as if I'm the true manager of this land, no longer just a random castaway with a fishing rod. Now that every machine has its designated spot, I truly feel my operations will gain even more momentum. Order on the farm means clarity of mind, and I truly need that mental focus to meticulously plan my next moves before the volcano definitively puts an end to my farming career. At the end of this intense day, the moment of truth has arrived. It's time to sell the silage I've been so eagerly waiting for. I'll hitch the trailer and collect the bales, then deliver them to the collection point. I'm curious to see how much money we'll earn from this transport, and whether investing in that wrapper, baler, and making these bales was truly worthwhile. Tell me in the comments, what methods would you employ on an island such as this to make as much money as possible in the shortest amount of time? Perhaps I'll discover something useful to incorporate into the next episode. If you spot a way to boost this video, I'd greatly appreciate it if you could do so. This way the video will reach a broader audience and my channel can experience even faster growth. Meanwhile, I'm loading the last bales and heading to the collecting point. To sum it up, this day was very fruitful and completely changed the face of my farm. I started from absolute zero. All I had was a fishing rod. I was on a deserted island where I still remain, and I desperately need to escape. Yet I'm now finishing up with 21,000 euros in my account, all from selling these bales. Let's start the new day by checking how my animals made it through the night. The sheep appear content, and their troughs are still brimming with feed, but I must intervene with the chickens and replenish their fresh grain supply. The field where I've planted rapeseed is now ready for harvest. It's time for my very first truly significant investment, one that's set to completely transform the way I earn a living on this island. I've invested over 11,000 euros to construct a sawmill. This will enable me to stop selling timber in its raw form, and instead, dramatically increase my earnings from every tree I cut down. My brand new factory cannot afford to sit idle for too long, just waiting for materials. So, without further delay, I'm getting right to work and heading straight for the forest. Yet again, strenuous physical toil awaits me there, but the profound realization that raw timber will be transformed into exquisite finished products right here in my sawmill ensures that every single minute spent with a saw in hand feels like an exceptional investment. However, I absolutely must finally create a concrete system that will enable me to transport wood much more quickly, because the current chaos is merely squandering my valuable time. My biggest challenge is efficiently stacking the logs on the trailer, where every crooked tree blocks space for the next one. These protruding branches are truly bothering me, catching on the edges and making it quite difficult to properly and tightly arrange the load. I've decided that I'll first load these perfectly straight pieces of wood, devoid of branches or knots, to establish an ideal base, and then, only at the very end, add the tree crowns. This arrangement should allow me to make full use of the trailer's capacity and reduce the number of trips across that creaky bridge. I'm delivering the first batch of wood to the factory, and now comes the crucial moment to decide what I actually want to produce here, at this very spot. After a moment's thought, I decided to produce long planks. As you can see, my factory has a colossal appetite, capable of accommodating 10 times more raw material than I could manage to deliver in just this one single run. Plank production at the sawmill has already started, and we'll deal with completely filling the storage later. It's time now to sell off all the products from my animals. Right now there isn't much to sell, so the profits won't be huge, but it's always a good thing to get a little extra money in the wallet. I got just under 300 euros for the eggs I sold, and 1600 euros for the pallet of wool. Since the animals aren't earning us as much as we'd like just yet, we have to go back to the forest for some guaranteed money. I'm extremely relieved I managed to build this bridge so rapidly. Without access to this island, we would really be in a tough spot right about now. Trees are once again becoming my primary source of income, and they will finance the next machine acquisition. In theory, I'm only short about 1000 euros, but I'd rather cut a little more wood, just to be safe. It's better to have a safe cash reserve and not zero out my account right after the purchase, especially since on a farm, some sudden extra expense can always crop up unexpectedly. I made over 7000 euros from this haul, so I can finally head to the shop and buy my first combine harvester. I ultimately settled on an old trusty Massey Ferguson combine harvester, costing 10,500 euros, plus a header for 2,800 euros. While visually this equipment may not be the most impressive, the most crucial aspect is that the machine remains fully operational and prepared for rigorous work. After purchase, I took the combine straight to the rapeseed field and began harvesting. I was really counting on getting the entire harvest done in one go, but unfortunately I was short by a few percent and had to go empty the tank. For 2,500 liters of rapeseed, I got nearly 8,000 euros at the point of sale. I immediately went to harvest the unfinished section, because with my tight budget and the Volcano's ticking clock, I simply cannot afford to incur any losses whatsoever. I truly feel my farm has ascended to an entirely new level of professionalism. After selling all the rapeseed, I have almost 15,000 euros in my account. That's a really solid amount, which gives me a lot of room to maneuver, but I'm not going to rest on my laurels. Instead of celebrating my success, I immediately get right back to work. I start making round bales from the straw that's left over after the harvest. My goal is to maximize the profit from every square meter of this field, so I'm making sure absolutely nothing goes to waste. Each bale of straw represents additional income, propelling me closer to acquiring more machinery and achieving my ultimate objective. I truly feel like I finally hit my stride. The rapeseed has been sold, the straw is now being collected, and my account balance is increasing at a pace I would have never anticipated just days ago. Naturally, these 3 straw bales, which I painstakingly created, must be sold to maximize the profits derived from this very field. Thanks to them, my balance is now almost 20,000 euros. It's amazing how quickly I managed to save up this much, starting from absolutely nothing. The time has come for another important investment that will open up a completely new source of income for me. I've made the decision to construct 4 greenhouses on my property, which will allow me to finally diversify my income and no longer depend exclusively on timber harvesting. Although the forest hasn't failed me yet, the knowledge of having a stable, regular income from greenhouse crops provides me with a significantly greater sense of security. However, generating income from these 4 greenhouses won't be as effortless or as passive as it might initially appear to be. I really need to remember to consistently provide water for my vegetables, because without adequate irrigation, the entire operation will simply grind to a halt. I decided to go with lettuce because after analyzing the market, it turned out to be the most profitable. This daily water delivery logistical task is another burden, but with the price of lettuce, it's definitely worth the effort. My farm is transforming into an increasingly intricate machine, where each individual component must operate in perfect harmony. The time has come to return to my roots and get back to mowing the grass. Selling silage is very good and easy money, which I simply cannot afford to pass up. Not if I'm determined to maintain the rapid growth rate of my farm. Additionally, I find the actual task of trimming the greenery quite satisfying, so it would truly be unwise to abandon an occupation that perfectly blends pleasure with productivity. Driving my tractor with the mower across the green meadow, each cut patch of grass means thousands more euros in my account. It's the very stable foundation of my business, providing me with a break from the more complicated logistics of the sawmill and greenhouses. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I sincerely encourage you to hit that subscribe button. And if you're interested in playing on this map, or any of my other maps, I invite you to explore my Patreon. Now, the time has come to bale our freshly cut grass, and then wrap it in protective foil. I genuinely can't decide for myself which part of this entire process is the most satisfying and pleasing to the eye. Is it that moment when the machine ejects a perfectly formed, tightly packed bale, or when the wrapper covers the green bales in white foil? Each wrapped bale represents a guaranteed profit that will soon be credited to my account. Once the grass transforms into valuable silage, it's truly incredible how this simple act can bring such peace after the morning's hustle at the greenhouses and sawmill. I just remembered I still need to take care of my one and only field before I get swamped with today's other challenges. Now it's time to bring in the cultivator to properly loosen the soil, getting it ready to replant that rapeseed that brought in such good profits for me recently. As soon as the ground is prepared, I'll immediately start with the seeding, so I don't overlook it amidst the other duties that are still awaiting me. This field is the very foundation of my operation, so I absolutely cannot afford any delays in the crop cycle whatsoever. I still have a bit of budget left to spend, so now I'm going to make sure someone finally notices me on this island and comes to my rescue. I've decided to construct enormous signs that will distinctly appeal for assistance from any aircraft flying overhead or vessel sailing by. I'm using red barrels to construct the words SOS and help, strategically placing them on opposite ends of the island to significantly boost my chances of being rescued. I truly hope this vibrant red will perfectly contrast with the island's background, ensuring the signs are clearly visible from a great distance. This is a truly pivotal moment for me because even as my farm continues to expand, my ultimate goal still remains a safe escape from this perilous place. Setting up these two signals is my next life insurance policy. It, along with the sawmill and greenhouses, offers me a slim chance of returning to civilization before the volcano ultimately awakens. I decided to rest a little after a whole day of hard work, but as soon as I woke up, I was greeted by unexpected small hail hitting the roof of my tent. Without wasting a second, I quickly donned my helmet to protect my head from the onslaught of ice pellets that began to batter my farm. Now that my head is safe under the helmet, it's time to restock the sawmill so that plank production doesn't stop for a single moment. As you can see, I have over 50,000 euros in my account, so I can afford to make some investments. But it's precisely this hard work that enables me to multiply these amounts. It's well worth the dedication to replenish my raw material supplies, because it only involves felling 2 trees, and the value of the finished products far exceeds the quick sale of raw timber. This strategy is the key to my wealth. I process raw material into a high-paying commodity instead of getting rid of it for pennies. I went into the forest with renewed energy, knowing that these 2 logs would soon turn into piles of expensive long planks, which will push my account balance even higher. The sawmill is now fully restocked, and I'm heading off for a quick nap, allowing my productions ample opportunity to prove their worth and generate a considerably hefty profit for me. I've already got over 90,000 euros in my account, which is an incredible result. After a quick nap, it's time for my morning rounds on the farm to feed the chickens and sell a pallet of eggs, along with 2 pallets of wool. I made over 6,000 euros for those 3 pallets. I have noticed that my forest is slowly starting to run out of trees. So, with my earnings, I'm getting a professional planter and saplings. With a budget of over 100,000, I can afford an investment like this, which will ensure a steady supply of raw material for the sawmill in the future. I spent 28,500 euros on these purchases. This is a crucial step to make sure my long plank production never stops due to a lack of material. Reforestation ensures the very foundation of my business on this island. Now's the time to profit from my meadow's efforts and sell off all the accumulated silage. I was very worried about these bales because the hail and the sudden bad weather could have damaged the wrapping, which would have ruined the entire contents. But fortunately, everything remained perfectly intact. After delivering the load to the selling point and finalizing the transaction, I felt a huge sense of relief. Thanks to these few bales, my account balance instantly shot back up to over 90,000 euros. It's an amazing feeling to see the budget recover so quickly after the recent large expenses on the planter and new trees. A well-organized space is crucial, as looking for tools amidst chaos is merely a waste of precious time, which I have less and less of with my increasing responsibilities. That's why I decided to invest 4,000 euros into building another shed, ensuring that all the machines have their own dedicated spaces. And on top of that, it should also make the entire yard appear a lot more professional. When every machine has its designated spot, work goes much more smoothly, and I can focus on planning the next plank deliveries or checking on the greenhouses. Now that the foundations are in place, I truly feel that my operating base on this island is evolving into a genuine modern farm. The time has come for me to purchase a new, significantly larger cultivator. This will enable me to efficiently prepare the ground for my most recent investment. I need a more powerful machine to create an even larger field for crops. Even though available space on my islands is rapidly diminishing, I've chosen to place this fresh field right at the base of the volcano, not far from my existing smaller plot, and conveniently located in close proximity to that massive "Help Me" sign. I truly hope that the vibrant sight of colorful crops, coupled with the bright red barrels arranged to spell out SOS and HELP, will become even more striking, effectively grabbing the attention of anyone who happens to be near this island. This isn't just about farming, it's a calculated rescue strategy. A color combination like that, right under the volcano, will be hard to miss from the air. As you may have noticed, I invested nearly 14,000 euros in this equipment. However, it's a sound investment that significantly advances my plan to maximize the utilization of this land. I just discovered that I can actually generate and sell electricity, and all I need to do this is sawdust. Isn't that incredible? This is a brilliant solution, so I've decided to construct a small incinerator, which will allow me to further boost profits from every tree harvested. Now this sawmill byproduct won't just accumulate in storage, instead it will be transformed into pure, hard cash directly channeled from the energy grid. This construction cost me over 42,000 euros, but I'm counting on it paying for itself very quickly. I figured it would be good to restock the sawmill so the warehouse was full of raw material. With my budget I could afford a relaxed logging session, but unfortunately I zoned out for a moment and accidentally sold the wood directly at the selling point. That's a tough lesson because every 2 trees cut and processed into planks are worth over 50,000 euros. But oh well, everyone makes mistakes sometimes, especially with this many responsibilities. After buying a bigger cultivator, it was time for a bigger seeder. This set me back 34,000 euros. After a quick refill of the tank, I immediately went to the field to begin planting. I've decided to plant soybeans in this new field, which has just been created right at the foot of the volcano. I really must admit that operating this specific seeder is an absolute pleasure. This machine flawlessly handles the somewhat challenging local terrain, and the sight of those perfectly sown rows, contrasting with my bold red SOS and help signs, fills me with immense pride. After I finished sowing soybeans in the new field under the volcano, I didn't waste a moment and headed back to the forest to oversee the transport of wood to the sawmill this time. Having learned from my last mistake, when I absent-mindedly sold the logs at the sell point for a fraction of their value, I was now fully focused, loading each log onto the trailer. I knew that these 2 felled trees were crucial to get my long plank production running at full steam and generate that promised 50,000 euro profit. Driving into the factory grounds with a full load was a huge relief. The raw material landed precisely where it was meant to. Then I recalled another extremely urgent task that, amidst the flurry of recent work, I had completely forgotten about. With all the chaos of building greenhouses, the sawdust incinerator, and putting up a new garage, it slipped my mind that the rapeseed in my smaller field was growing perfectly and is now fully mature. I sprang into action immediately, heading there with my old Massey Ferguson before the weather plays a trick on us again and hail or heavy rain destroys these valuable crops. The tank filled up to 100%, so I drove straight to the sell point to unload and sell the grain I'd managed to harvest. An extra 7,000 euros landed in my account. After that job, I have over 19,000 euros, so I'm parking the combine harvester and moving on. It's time for another round of logging and delivering fresh logs to the sawmill. I know perfectly well I've done this many times before, but my plan remains simple and effective. I want to clear out all the old trees in the vicinity and transform them into a substantial fortune. It's a bold move, but one I can afford to make with complete peace of mind, because my recent investment in a tree planter is already starting to pay off. The young saplings are just now breaking through the ground, reaching upwards to the sky. I'm entering the forest with a clear vision. Each cut log that goes to the sawmill means another 50,000 euros, bringing me closer to millionaire status on this island. And because I took care of forest regeneration, I don't have to worry about the environment or running out of raw material in the future. My plank factory is operating at peak capacity, and this new incinerator is eagerly awaiting sawdust, ready to convert it into pure electrical power profit. I have loaded a full trailer of wood and I'm now heading straight to the sawmill to unload it. After the rapeseed harvest, the next task was to tidy up the field and bale the remaining straw. It's a great way to make the most of every harvest. The rapeseed will go into the silo or be sold, and the straw will turn into extra cash. After I baled the straw, I immediately started a massive operation to cut down and transport as many trees as I possibly could, getting them all into my warehouse as quickly as possible. I likely won't have enough trees on these islands to completely fill the warehouse, as it can hold a full 100,000 liters. I'll cut down all the trees and we'll see how much I can gather. I'm delivering trailer loads of wood to the sawmill, one after another. The great moment has arrived. I've just delivered the last batch of wood to the sawmill, thus completing the extensive clear out of my lands. I look with pride at the warehouse gauge, which shows over 70,000 liters of raw material waiting to be processed. And at the end of this busy day, it's time to prepare my smaller field again for planting rapeseed. I simply cannot allow this land to remain barren, wasting its valuable potential while I simply rest. Using my brand new cultivator, preparing the field took literally no time at all. We began our operation simply by relying on logging, and now my business has transformed into a complex and perfectly well-oiled machine. The most significant breakthrough was establishing 4 lettuce greenhouses, which, due to their consistently stable price, became the absolute bedrock of my daily income, despite requiring regular water deliveries to sustain them. Every single one of my endeavors on this island, from the chicken farming to the advanced crop cultivation, the timber industry, and even energy production, has brought me to the best financial standing I've had since I first started my journey on this island. Sowing the rapeseed is almost finished, so there's really nothing left for me to do but simply wait for everything to grow, for the trees to start growing back, so I can finally get back to cutting them again. During that time, I'll have to keep a close eye on my animals and factories to make sure nothing runs out anywhere. We're definitely on the right path to escape this desolate volcanic island before that volcano blows its top. Sun has finally peeked out from behind the clouds, and a perfect calm has settled over the island. But this is just the calm before the storm. In today's episode, we'll go back to basics and start a massive tree felling operation, since they've finally reached their maximum size. To process raw materials faster, I'll invest in another sawmill to boost my production. But that's not all. New powerful machines will also be appearing on the farm. A modern harvester, a round baler, and a set of mowers for my big tractor. I also plan to build a concrete helipad, because the volcano rumbles louder, and time to escape is slowly running out. We're starting the day with business, driving into the soybean field below the volcano. This is historic, as it's likely the last time you'll see me in this harvester's cab. Even though the machine served me faithfully, with my expansion plans and enlarging the islands, it simply couldn't handle the load anymore. The sight of that smoking crater and my red SOS signs serves as a stark reminder that time is a luxury I simply cannot afford when I'm forced to work with outdated equipment. As the last rows of soybeans disappear into the old harvester's maw, I feel joy, but also relief that this is the end of this ordeal. My empire is growing. The fields under the volcano are becoming more and more massive, so I need a machine that properly represents the level of my farm. After selling the soybeans, I have over 100,000 euros in my account. With the money I've earned, I'm going into crude oil extraction. This black gold will ultimately finance my escape from this island. The money from the oil will enable me to construct a small airfield, suitable for the landing of a rescue helicopter. My empire under the volcano is becoming an energy powerhouse. From planks and lettuce to electricity from sawdust, all the way to my own oil wells. All of this is for one purpose only, to return home. Those prominent red SOS and help signs will soon serve as a crucial guide for my rescue. The land from the cut down trees finally gets its second life. Since this land has proven to be so profitable, it is high time to properly prepare it for the upcoming investment. I'm leveling out all the hills and uneven ground, because the upcoming investment requires a perfectly flat terrain. After all this extensive preparation, this is an ideal location to begin constructing a photovoltaic farm. My initial investment in solar energy totals 10,500 euros, and now I'm completing my final task of the day before I head off to bed. The rainy season is fast approaching, so I must hustle before the heavy downpours really get going and turn the ground into a muddy mess. A healthy dose of moisture is exactly what my fresh seedlings, along with the soybeans and rapeseed, need right now to truly shoot up and thrive. I made sure all productions have the essential materials gathered for operation, so the sawmill, incinerator and pumps will run without interruption, generating profit for me. 2 months of rain have passed, and over 179,000 euros have appeared in my account. I got to work right away and started expanding the island's terrain where the trees used to be. This is no longer merely cosmetic or just about leveling hills. Thanks to this, I gain an enormous amount of additional space that simply didn't exist before. New machines will also be working on this newly created land. After all these investments, I have nearly 200,000 euros to spend. I just spent 131,000 on a brand new powerful New Holland tractor, boasting over 300 horsepower. But the tractor alone isn't enough. I also had to buy a 6-meter wide cultivator for 23,800 euros. There's no time to waste, so I'm getting straight to work right away on this new expanded area. However, I must be extremely careful to ensure my costly New Holland tractor and wide cultivator avoid ending up in the water. I can't lose focus for a second because a moment of carelessness would cost me a fortune. I started by precisely marking the field boundaries, driving slowly right along the edge of the waterfront. Considering the significant amount of new land I've successfully reclaimed from the sea, it appears this will become the second largest field across my entire island. Its sheer size will be surpassed only by that colossal area situated right at the base of the volcano. Work with the newly purchased setup is going lightning fast. Just 2 or perhaps 3 more passes to go and our new field will be 100% completely finished. I've just prepared one field for sowing soybeans, but the other one is already ready for harvesting. I admit, I was a little too quick in announcing the retirement of my old combine harvester recently. It completely slipped my mind that there was still one more. This was the very first field I ever created on this island. There's rapeseed growing there, and it'd be a shame to leave it. Especially since I'll get a few bucks from it, which will really come in handy with my investments in oil and modern equipment. This field holds a significant piece of my farm's history, and this harvest perfectly concludes a long-standing chapter, before I permanently transition to the more robust new equipment that will be capable of handling these newly expanded territories. I'm selling all the rapeseed I managed to gather for over 7,000 euros. I had completed all my responsibilities, so I was free to head to my tent and allow my productions to generate some income for me. And all of this happened while I was sound asleep. A substantial amount of money finally appeared in my account. I've already got over 200,000 euros, and that's not all. I still have wool and rapeseed left to sell. I've got a strong feeling my empire is in the best shape it's ever been. From my initial tree felling, I have reached a point where every single branch of my business is now generating a massive income. After selling all the wool I produced, I now have over 223,000 euros in my account. I decided to sell everything that's unnecessary. The island has gotten too crowded with this old equipment that's just taking up space, and after my recent investments, there's no point in keeping it. The machines will share the same fate as my greenhouses. They proved less profitable than I'd expected, so I got rid of them without any regret. Instead of messing around with hauling water for lettuce, I'm focusing on solid profits from oil and huge soybean fields. I've now accumulated over 300,000 euros in my account, and each machine sold provides an additional boost of capital, which will be essential for acquiring a powerful combine harvester. But the initial upgrade, following the large-scale disposal of outdated machinery, is a brand new seeder, complete with a substantial stock of seeds and essential fertilizers. I've poured over 100,000 euros into all this, so it's high time to truly put this seeder to the test. The difference it makes is absolutely colossal. Now the sowing will be done in a flash. The working width allows me to cover an enormous strip of land in a single pass, and the machine just glides along at a very high speed. My blue New Holland barely registers any resistance, and from the comfort of my air-conditioned cab, I'm watching the island's second largest field quickly become covered with soybeans. This is the efficiency I've been waiting for. Instead of driving in circles with a small seeder, I'm getting real work done in record time. It's time to quickly put this extra cash to good use. I'll acquire several more crude oil pumps to substantially increase my earnings. I'm strategically placing them, which will greatly maximize my extraction and significantly accelerate my profits. A greater number of active machines forms the bedrock of my business, generating revenue even without my continuous direct supervision. Every liter of oil extracted brings me closer to building the airfield and escaping the island. The moment I've been waiting for has arrived. We're going back to basics. The trees I planted just prior to the rainy season have now finally reached their full maximum size. The forest is dense, fully grown, and ready for felling, providing me with another substantial opportunity to profit from timber and wood chips. Yet, a significant issue arises. The felling site is now quite distant from the production facilities requiring this raw material, which presents me with a serious dilemma. Will such an extended transport even prove to be cost-effective? I'm genuinely concerned that the expenses for fuel and the lost hours will render any profit from the timber negligible. I really need to figure out if it's worth risking transport with my current equipment, or if I need an entirely new strategy so I don't slow down the growth of the rest of my empire. After a moment of careful consideration, I truly believe there's only one logical decision I can make here. Rather than squandering precious time on transportation, I chose to construct a brand new sawmill immediately adjacent to my small woodlot. This way, the problems vanish instantly. Now the felled trees only need to be moved a mere few dozen meters, enabling me to process wood into planks with lightning speed, all without squandering fuel crisscrossing the entire island. This solution will undeniably save me a significant amount of time. Building a new sawmill right next to the source of the raw materials is a clear example of optimizing my business operations. Production ramped up quickly, and I don't worry about long transport cutting into profits, as everything's now close by. After starting up the sawmill, I still had some money left in my account, so I decided to spend it on a set of mowers. A rear mower for 35,000 and a front mower for 13,500. I invested just under 50,000, and as a result, the working width of my grass cutting equipment is now over 8 meters. This enables me to mow the grass in an instant, and if you too would like to play on this map, or indeed any of my other maps, and utilize the very same modifications that I do, then I cordially invite you to check out my Patreon. The link, of course, is in the description and in the top left corner of the screen. Thanks to the new mower set, cutting the designated area was done in the blink of an eye. I just have one more pass left to make, and then the entire island will be completely mowed down. After mowing the grass, I decided to head straight to my tent. It was time for some well-deserved rest. While I was sound asleep, over 550,000 euros in passive income landed in my account. I immediately headed to the shop, ready to spend 30,000 euros on a grass rake that boasts an impressive working width of over 9 meters. Up until this point, I had managed without a rake, but the field I just mowed with my new set of mowers is considerably larger than previous ones, so this investment truly became a necessary acquisition. The main reason for the purchase is to streamline my work as much as possible. With this rake, I'll be able to form wide and even rows of grass, which will significantly reduce the number of passes I'll need to make with the baler, a piece of equipment I also plan to purchase in the near future. Instead of driving chaotically all over the place, I'll be able to collect the entire swath quickly and precisely. This is yet another building block in creating a truly efficient farm. First, quick mowing with the New Holland and its mower setup, then efficient raking, and soon, professional baling will be next. This is all done to save valuable time and to prepare feed for my animals with the absolute minimal amount of effort possible. I chose a John Deere baler, and I'm totally convinced it's the absolute best decision I could have made. For just under 115,000 euros, it not only makes bales but also wraps them in foil so they can ferment and turn into silage. This saved me a significant amount of money and precious yard space because I didn't need to purchase a separate wrapping machine. This baler pairs perfectly with my blue New Holland. All the mown grass is quickly transformed into finished bales in the blink of an eye. The efficiency of this whole setup is truly incredible. Where it once took me a good half day to gather the grass, now I just make one pass, leaving behind perfectly neat, securely wrapped bales, ready for storage or for sale. This is absolutely crucial, because with my massive fields and rapidly expanding sheep flock, every single second I save in the field means more time to manage oil extraction or operations at the new sawmill. The moment has finally arrived. After selling off my old equipment and saving up a substantial amount of cash, I've invested in a brand new class combine harvester. I chose a medium-sized model because after carefully reviewing the shop's offers, I decided it had the best price to performance ratio. This machine, along with the header, cost me almost 300,000 euros. I attached a header 7.7 meters wide to it, and that, combined with the fact that its grain tank is more than twice the size of my previous machines, dramatically changes the entire game out in the field. The difference in work pace is evident to the naked eye. The biggest relief is no longer having to constantly drive up and interrupt the harvesting process just to unload the tank. Now I can harvest an entire field of this size without a single stop. With such a fantastic setup, even my second largest field doesn't feel like much of a challenge anymore. It's an absolute joy to witness the grain vanish so swiftly, transforming a task that was once arduous into a mere formality, completed under the most opulent circumstances. I've already managed to harvest the entire field of soybeans, so I'm heading straight to the selling point to top up my account with some extra cash. I earned 21,000 euros from that. The moment I've been striving for, ever since I cut down my first tree and extracted my first liter of oil, has finally arrived. It's time to construct the helipad which will serve as my sole escape route. The volcano is becoming more and more unpredictable, and I feel like it's giving me less and less time before the situation on the island becomes critical. I needed to act quickly and strategically, so I made the decision to expand the terrain adjacent to the shop. I constructed a small artificial island there, connected to the mainland by a narrow causeway. This ensured the machine had unimpeded access from all directions, preventing any collisions with existing infrastructure. Given my limited resources, a professional certified airport runway was a luxury I could only dream of having. However, I managed to handle it differently. I repurposed concrete ramps, which allowed me to construct a surprisingly stable and perfectly level landing platform. The entire structure is now perfectly visible from a great distance, which is critically important when making an approach for landing in challenging conditions. This helipad symbolizes my success and my ticket to freedom. Despite being homemade, it is robust and fully prepared to accommodate a helicopter. I've also installed powerful lighting. If rescue operations need to happen at night, the pilot will easily find their way to the target without any trouble. Before I advance to the final stages of the plan, I must get the backyard chaos under control. Months of intense expansion, battling the rain, and making rapid purchases have resulted in leftover pallets, empty fertilizer bags, and unnecessary scrap metal cluttering up every corner. It's time for a proper cleanup, so I can reclaim my space to operate freely. I'm setting up the machines under the shed. My blue New Holland, the brand new class harvester, and the John Deere set finally have their designated spots. A clean and organized yard gives me a crystal clear picture of the whole situation before my final escape. Now that the volcano is getting more dangerous, every second saved from looking for tools is worth its weight in gold. I'm buying another sawmill for 180,000 euros because the wood supply is too large for one production line. Now I'm going to double my processing speed and profits. A quick nap in the tent, and then, immediately after waking, I'll head out to fell trees, aiming to maximize the use of these new machines before the final evacuation takes place. Right after I wake up, I get straight to work, taking full advantage of what promises to be an exceptionally prosperous day. The weather is perfect. It's very warm, the sun is shining, and there isn't a single cloud in the sky that could signal the return of those annoying rains. In these conditions, tree felling is going lightning fast, and I feel a new surge of energy to get things done. There's absolutely no indication that anything could go awry, so with a completely clear mind, I'm able to fully concentrate on operating all of the equipment and efficiently stocking the next sawmill with a fresh supply of perfectly stacked logs. With 2 sawmills at my disposal now, there will be an enormous improvement in the speed of my work. The raw material I'm collecting goes almost immediately to the production line, ensuring the yard doesn't get clogged with an excessive amount of wood. The sun warms everything around, and the sweet scent of freshly cut trees permeates the air, which only heightens the immense satisfaction of a business so perfectly planned. Every fallen tree means another batch of planks and sawdust, bringing me closer to finalizing all my plans before leaving the island. I'm making the absolute most of this favorable weather, well aware that in this climate conditions can radically shift in the blink of an eye. However, at that very moment, something completely unforeseen occurred. I absolutely did not anticipate that my adventure could conclude precisely now, and in such an abrupt manner. The tsunami destroyed everything but the forest. Buildings are gone, oil pumps are broken, needing a total rebuild. I must start from scratch, working faster, smarter than before. My primary goal is to build a radio tower. I must establish contact with civilization to summon assistance. I'll use the surviving trees as my only available resource to build the structure and restore contact with the world. This is my sole chance for rescue before the volcano erupts once more. I'm starting with absolutely nothing. A huge wave took everything, leaving me not even €1. My only surviving possession is an old chainsaw that miraculously survived the tsunami's impact. It must now become the very foundation for this entire reconstruction endeavor. I'm heading towards the forest, the only thing that survived the cataclysm, to cut down the first trees and slowly start gathering some funds to survive. However, a huge logistical problem arises. The old wood collection point is too far away. Without machines, transporting wood over such a distance is impossible and unprofitable. Therefore, my priority is to earn my initial funds to establish a new collection point directly adjacent to the forest. Right here, on higher ground, my new base will be established. I must be methodical. First, cut wood for the collection, then buy a new tent, as I've no roof over my head. Now that the collection point and the tent are in place, I can focus on cutting down more trees. Having the raw material selling point right here under my nose gives me tremendous comfort, making my work significantly quicker and more productive. I no longer waste energy on transport. I'm just focused on operating the saw. It's truly lucky that this simple tool survived the wave's impact. Without it, rebuilding anything would be impossible. The memory of the tsunami still gives me chills. I had to flee almost to the very top of the volcano, seeking refuge from the destructive water that took everything in its path. On one hand, the ocean's fury was chasing me, and on the other, I was terrified of the potentially erupting volcano. It was truly a terrifying experience, showing me the fragility of everything I had built. But now, standing on new ground with a safe place to rest, I feel like I'm regaining control. Each felled tree isn't just a source of income, it's a way to silence those memories, and a tangible step toward constructing the radio tower. After that extreme effort and fight on the volcano's slopes, it's time for a deserved rest. I lie in my new tent, hearing the forest's rustle and the mountain's steady breath. First thing in the morning, I get to work with one specific goal. I really need to gather €50,000. This sum is absolutely essential to construct the radio tower and establish contact with civilization. It's my only ticket back to normality, so every second with the saw in my hand is now critically important. Work's proceeding smoothly, yet I'm noticing a grave issue. The forest that survived is not infinite. Trees are depleting, so I must manage this resource extremely carefully. My strategy has to be twofold. Save up for the tower, but also leave myself a financial margin for a planter and new saplings. If I cut everything down and I'm left with bare land and no money to replant the forest, my economy will collapse before help arrives. Each log heads to the collection point, and my account grows. It's a race against time and resources. I must erect the radio mast before cutting the last tree on this island. Done. After brutal logging, my account finally shows €50,000. I'm building a solid radio tower structure at the highest point of my new base. It's my only link to civilization. I'll mount the antenna, connect power, and fire up the transmitter. The red diode signals readiness, and I'm initiating the broadcast of a distress signal across all available bands. Volcanic Island survivor here. Can anyone hear me? Over.
We read you loud and clear. This is the Odysseus Rescue Unit calling out. We've pinpointed your signal. However, it'll take us a number of months to reach your exact coordinates.
The voice on the radio was direct. Help will arrive in a few months, and the evacuation will be by helicopter due to the shallows. My important job is to prepare the necessary supplies of diesel, all lubricants, and fresh food and milk for the crew. This is my ticket home, so I have to get production back up and running immediately. Instead of just surviving, I now absolutely must rebuild the fuel infrastructure and establish animal pens. I've got a lot of work ahead of me, but the goal is clear. I'm starting with a major cleanup. My yard and fields are littered with the wrecks of oil pumps, which are now just useless scrap metal after the tsunami. I really need to remove all these redundant structures to clear up space for a new and more efficiently planned infrastructure. It's painful. Each pump is a symbol of lost money, but I can't move forward without clearing the area. After I remove the scrap, I'll have a clean slate to rebuild my little empire. I won't blindly place machines now. Each new pump must be part of an efficient system producing diesel and lubricants for the rescue crew. I'm heading back to the forest, but this time I'm changing my tactics. Instead of running with each log, I'm cutting several trees at once, one after the other. I fell them sequentially, to stockpile raw materials in one location. Only when there's a solid pile of wood on the ground do I start making trips to the collection point. I think this will be much faster and more efficient. Every second is worth its weight in gold now, because I need to quickly raise funds to repair the first pump and buy saplings, so my forest doesn't disappear forever. Immediately after selling the wood, I made my way directly to the dealer to reclaim my very first tractor. The very same machine that kicked off my entire adventure on these islands. It's humble, yet in this situation, worth more than any modern harvester. I also bought a basic cultivator for the tractor. Without it, I'm doomed. But heading out to the field turned out to be a painful reality check. The land that was once teeming with life now looks like a battlefield. The tsunami left behind a thick layer of mud, and the salt water ruined the soil. All I see is grey, sticky sludge, with some grass poking through. I knew it would be tough, but not this tough. Cultivating crops here will be a giant challenge. I need to loosen up this compacted mess, aerate it thoroughly, and ready it for planting, all the while hoping the sea salt won't scorch everything I sow. Every pass with the tractor through this mud is a fight for the future crops that will feed me and the rescue team. Even though the terrain is tough, I'm slowly turning this swamp into a field. I'm not wasting a single minute. Right after running the cultivator over the field, while the soil is still somewhat loose, I start sowing. First up is the wheat. It's truly the most versatile choice for these difficult times. On one hand, selling it will help me patch up my budget, and on the other, I'll gain invaluable feed for the chickens I plan to acquire shortly. Everything's truly starting to come together and make perfect sense. The chickens will provide eggs, an ideal food item for the rescue team's emergency supplies. Even though the soil is still heavy and filled with silt, I'm hoping that the wheat will prove resilient enough to push through this devastated battlefield. Now all I can do is wait, and make sure this volcanic earth finally starts to pay for itself. After all the stress of planning the rescue and fighting the mud in the field, it's time to get back to my roots. In my case, it's a literal statement. I must fix my budget, because without cash, I can't buy feed or oil pump parts. Cutting and selling wood is my most reliable income right now. I'm working methodically, felling more trees, cutting them into even logs, and hauling them to the newly built collection point. Every single course provides a crucial cash injection, bringing me closer to acquiring more machinery and significantly expanding my operational base. I need to earn enough so I don't have to worry about the foundations of my little empire, and can be sure that when the rescue team finally appears on the horizon, all the supplies will be waiting at the landing zone. I immediately invest my earnings in a planter and the first batch of saplings. This is key. I'm going back to the cleared land and starting the tedious forest renewal process. Every young tree planted in the ground is a guarantee that in time I'll have something to cut down and sell again. My little patch of forest is slowly regaining its form. Although the saplings will take time to grow, I feel a sense of calm, knowing I've secured the future of my operation. Finally, I can focus on next steps bringing me closer to evacuation. Now that the saplings are safely in the ground and working for my future, I can start cutting down the last of the old trees without feeling guilty. These are my primary source of funding now, and I must convert them into hard currency to finance the acquisition of heavier equipment. My small farm truly needs proper machines to handle this mess far better than just me and my old tractor ever could. Each account transfer brings me closer to professionalizing this survival fight. I need a more efficient seeder, better tools for cows, and most importantly, parts to reactivate the refinery. The old forest vanishes, replaced by new. A rebuilding milestone. On the ruins of the old system, I've set up the first oil extraction site. This is the core of my future diesel and lubricant production. Without it, the worst case scenario would be inevitable. The sight of the active oil extraction pump gives me hope that I'll have enough time to prepare all the fuel reserves before the Odyssey finally arrives. Concurrently, I began food production. I set up the first greenhouse, the only way to get healthy crops in this tsunami and salt-damaged area. I planted absolutely everything there, from tomatoes, cucumbers to lettuce and radishes. Finally, it's time to ease up a bit. My little empire is coming to life. The oil pump is working, and in the greenhouse the first vegetables are sprouting under cover. I sat in front of my tent, watching the young tree saplings slowly straightening themselves in the wind. My new trees have finally shot up and are ready for harvesting. There must have been a major mix-up when I picked up the saplings. Instead of my standard slender pines, completely different trees have grown. They're considerably shorter, yet tremendously thick. I'm viewing this initial purchasing error with a touch of unease now, for even though there appears to be abundant raw material, prepping these colossal logs for market will pose quite a challenge. My chainsaw must run at maximum output, and cutting through trunks this thick takes me twice as long as it normally would. I hope the amount of wood makes up for all this over time. Even if processing them takes more time, each log still appears to be a substantial cash injection, exactly what I need to expand the refinery and acquire some cows. It was a truly excellent decision. Though these short, thick trees demanded more effort, their mass yielded a substantial profit. I focused. I decided to go big and invested in a larger combine harvester. This is a colossal machine, an absolute giant compared to my trusty old tractor with its humble cultivator. The sight of this beast in the wheat field is pure satisfaction. I truly feel like I'm finally regaining control over this entire area. Its biggest asset proved to be its massive tank. Because of it, I don't have to constantly interrupt my work, drive the tractor over with a trailer, and waste time transferring loads. I can just focus on driving and harvest the entire field in one go. It's a huge time saver, and time is very precious to me right now. This harvester isn't just about convenience, it's the foundation of my food plan for the rescue team. Now with such a supply of grain, I can really get started with raising chickens. This was a crucial step in my strategy. With a full tank of freshly harvested wheat, I immediately invested in chickens, who will now diligently gather provisions for the Odyssey crew. I had to find a safe shelter for them quickly. I took care of them right away. I scouted the golden grain, and the sight of the birds swarming to the food was undeniable proof that my arduous work in the field had certainly not been in vain. It's a living protein factory. Eggs are one of the best products I can offer the rescuers. Once the hen house was full and set up, I took the rest of the wheat I didn't need to the collection point. My wallet was bulging with cash again. Now that food production is in full swing and the chickens are starting to settle in, I can calmly think about the next elements of my plan. The sun is slowly sinking below the horizon. After such an intense day, from cutting those strange, thick trees, to harvesting wheat with the new harvester, and setting up the hen house in the old sawmill, my body is truly demanding regeneration. I will wake up at dawn. There's no time to celebrate yesterday's successes. I have only one goal in sight: the refinery. It's without a doubt going to be the most expensive and complicated investment I have ever constructed on this entire island. Without it, the oil in the tanks is merely black sludge, and the Odyssey's captain explicitly stated that without fuel and lubricants, the return mission is truly jeopardized. I grabbed my saw and rushed into the forest. This time there will be no selective logging. I need cash here and now. The saw's engine roar drowns out the ocean's hum. I'm cutting down tree after tree with the determination of a man who sees the finish line. Each trip to the collection point brings me thousands of euros closer. The balance in my account is growing, but the cost of the refinery is astronomical. The work's brutal, the forest vanishes fast, but I know it's a necessary sacrifice. I have to finish before the next radio call, so I can proudly report that fuel production is underway. This will undoubtedly be the most challenging engineering phase I've encountered throughout my entire career on this island. Building a refinery isn't like putting up a simple shed or chicken coop. It's a complex processing plant, one that truly demands a perfectly level and stable foundation. The problem? The best site for this investment, near the port and extraction areas, is partly submerged by water from the tsunami. I meticulously check every square meter of the ground with a level in my hand. One single mistake with the foundation could cause the distillation pipes to crack, and with my life on the line, I absolutely cannot afford that. Working heavy equipment in mud and water is exhausting, but knowing I'm laying the foundation for my ticket home gives me an incredible drive. When I finally manage to level the ground and create a solid, dry platform, I feel a huge sense of satisfaction. Now I've found the perfect spot. I'm just one step away from proudly reporting to the captain that fuel production is now running at full capacity. Everything's falling into place. Food, milk are next. I am almost 100% ready to make my escape from this volcanic hell. I'm almost 100% ready to escape this volcanic hell. No time to rest. The refinery is a priority, but without grass, no milk. Without milk, the rescuer deal fails. I drove the tractor to the old field, which the tsunami had turned into a barren swamp. The operation is quick, yet quite demanding. I meticulously clear the land of all deposited waste and straw, and then sow a hardy grass variety that can truly thrive in these challenging conditions. This field will be crucial for my future cows. On the way back, I'm not wasting fuel on an empty run. I pull into the field where I recently harvested wheat with my new harvester. The stubble is quite dry, so I need to swiftly prepare it for the next crop. I know every bump in this terrain by now. The day is slowly coming to an end, and I've got 2 fields prepped. One for fresh grass, and the other ready for new grain. My little empire is becoming more and more professional. I get to work, returning to the areas I prepared earlier. In the first field, I'm planting rapeseed. It's a risky but very profitable investment, and any extra financial surplus will be useful for finishing the refinery and buying the systems to produce lubricants. The sight of the yellow flowers that will soon bloom here will also be a sign that my farm is returning to its former glory. Then I move to the second field and sow grass, as planned. This spot isn't for direct profit from silage sales, it's to be the cornerstone of my milk production. The thick, lush grass will serve as the sole food source for the cows I intend to purchase within the next few days. I have to ensure that when the animals arrive in their enclosure, they'll have an abundant supply of fresh feed. I work with precision, taking care of every meter of sown land. Now that the grains and seeds are nestled in the soil, this brief moment of respite has truly helped me regain clarity of thought. I knew I couldn't delay developing the livestock sector any longer, because the cows would require time to acclimate and start producing milk in quantities sufficient to satisfy the entire crew of the ship. So, I went to the dealer and finalized the purchase of a small but modern barn and the first few cows. Strategically, I positioned the barn right next to my newly established grass field. This will make feed transport super fast. Now I pretty much have everything. Chickens laying eggs, greenhouses working at full capacity, and cows that will soon fill the churns with fresh milk. Right after buying the equipment, I head out to the field, because the grass has already grown quite a bit. I have to admit, it's been a really long time since I've done this. The mowers and the smell of freshly cut grass remind me of the time before the tsunami. It's an incredibly satisfying task that allows me to clear my head of all those technical worries for a little while. Unfortunately, a mistake I made during my shopping trip quickly becomes obvious. The mower I spent a lot of money on has some kind of design flaw or poorly adjusted blades. It leaves an annoying, uncut strip almost right down the middle of its path. It's truly frustrating, as I now must drive in a peculiar, inefficient manner with each pass overlapping. But I simply don't have the time for complaints, sales, or to search for a new model. The odyssey is getting closer. Since this machine still cuts, despite its flaw, I'll just have to put up with it. It looks messy, but at least my cows will finally get to eat. I waste no time. Harvesting starts instantly. Despite the mower's little tricks, the grass is exceptionally thick and juicy. That bodes well for the milk quality. I load everything onto the trailer and head towards the pen. I really don't want my very first herd to suffer hunger any longer, due to errors in equipment purchases on my part. The cows started eating immediately, and that specific peaceful atmosphere settled over the island. Taking care of the animals isn't just a matter of business and the contract with the rescuers. For me, it's proof that order has returned to this island. Now that my animals' bellies are full, I can be certain that the milk cans won't be completely empty in the morning, which is a great relief. I've secured enough feed for the next few days, so I can put the farm machinery away for a bit. Farming and livestock raising are now on a very stable track. The chickens are laying eggs, and the rapeseed in the neighboring field is slowly pushing up through the soil. This is the perfect moment to finally concentrate all my energy and remaining funds on the most complicated part of it all. These powerful points of light, now marking the landing zone, genuinely instill in me a tremendous sense of security. My operations center will be visible from many kilometers away. This is no longer a makeshift drop zone, but a professional evacuation point. But there's no time to admire the lights. Harvest time is here. The rapeseed was perfectly ripe. I immediately started combining. I really appreciate its efficiency and the huge tank, letting me harvest without downtime. The rapeseed harvest is pure profit for me. Every acre turns into gold dust. I need the extra funds like I need air, because building the refinery is a financial bottomless pit. I have to be sure I'll have enough for the final stages of the plan. Work is in full swing, and I feel a sense of satisfaction seeing my farm generate huge income again after such a long break. Everything's falling into place. The lit landing strip awaits. The chickens and cows are well looked after, and a full combine harvester tank brings me even closer to finalizing this truly massive investment. I managed to build quite a lot, but the time has finally come for my evacuation. It truly was the last possible moment, because right after the helicopter lifted off with me and the supplies, the volcano erupted and destroyed absolutely everything. I watch from above as a massive explosion rips the crater apart, and rivers of lava instantly devour my refinery, the barn, and the fields I put so much work into. The sight is both terrifying and majestic at the same time. The fire is consuming the fruits of my labor, but I'm already safe. I managed to take what was most important: food supplies for the rescuers and the fuel that will get us to our destination. Although my small empire no longer exists, I am truly winning this battle, leaving behind only smoke and ash.